Chapter 451. Xiao Han and Rong, this pair of archenemies, finally met on a narrow path to fight to the death. However, neither of them made the first move. Rong's spiritual force was firmly locked onto Xiao Han. He used a scrutinizing gaze to size up Xiao Han. His eyes were burning as if he wanted to see through Xiao Han. He wanted to see through all of Xiao Han's secrets. Xiao Han, on the other hand, was silently preparing. The liquid spiritual force star in his sea of consciousness released waves of spiritual force. It merged with this hallucinatory demon palace. As long as Xiao Han willed it, the earth-shattering hallucinatory demon realm would attack Rong. Rong was possessed by the devil. Phew, strong? Really too strong. At this moment, Xiao Han was facing Rong head-on, and he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. As expected of the leader of a powerful plane, someone who stands at the top of the pyramid, although he has been forced into an extremely difficult situation by me and his aura has fallen greatly, his aura and his bearing are still shocking. I, Xiao Han, am able to fight against such a great character. Before this, it was simply unimaginable. Rong did not use his ultimate technique to attack Xiao Han. He was observing Xiao Han inch by inch. At the next moment, Rong finally spoke. Expanded Meridian Realm. I can see it clearly now. It's the Expanded Meridian Realm. It's definitely the Expanded Meridian Realm. Moreover, from the fluctuations of life, he's only 10 years old. He's not even 100 years old. He's still wet behind the ears. Yes, the Expanded Meridian Realm has expanded very well. Your foundation is very solid. Xiao Han, if I'm not wrong, your Expanded Meridian Realm should be more than 2,000 times, right? This Rong actually spoke with fervor and assurance. His attitude made it seem as if he had Xiao Han firmly in his grasp, and had Xiao Han in his grasp. That's right. Although after entering the hallucinatory demon palace, Rong repeatedly suffered losses in Xiao Han's hands. Being restrained everywhere, Rong was not an ordinary person. Now he was facing Xiao Han. After carefully analyzing Xiao Han, he discovered Xiao Han's age and cultivation. It was really difficult to pose a threat to him. Thus, the confidence and demeanor of a great character was re-established. Soon, Rong's aura became that of a monarch. Moreover, Rong's aura was completely locked on Xiao Han. As long as Xiao Han made any strange movements, it would trigger Rong's fiercest attack. Under such circumstances, Xiao Han had no way to escape. Without waiting for Xiao Han to reply, Rong continued. When I expanded my acupoints in the past, I expanded them by 1,500 times, but I'm probably not as good as you. However, expanding aperture realm. At the end of the day, you are only building your foundation, not your combat strength. In other words, Xiao Han, you are very weak right now. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. In front of this seat they are like ants. Ha! Xiao Han laughed involuntarily. Yes. My cultivation base is nothing more than an ant in front of you. However, it is also an ant like me who has treated you as a demon hero and an elder of this plane. They fought until they were forced to retreat again and again until they were completely wiped out. Ah, it seems like it's really ironic. Rong's face went pale when he heard this, and the veins on his face swelled up while his eyes emitted an expression of deep resentment. Little bastard. You're cunning, humph. You were able to repeatedly assassinate the elites of my plane. It was all a trick. With your cultivation base, even a demon hero of this plane who is at the 9th stage of true chi would be able to kill you. After pausing for a moment, Rong's expression calmed down again. He looked at Xiao Han as if he was looking at a pile of dead things. You can use the hallucinatory demonic realm to turn our people into devils. It seems like your mental strength is strong enough. Moreover, it is highly possible that you are hiding a immortal tool. As he spoke, Rong's eyes were dyed with greed and heat. Immortal tool. And this is the only explanation. Otherwise, no matter how strong your mental strength is, it would be impossible for you to use the hallucinatory demonic realm to successfully assassinate the great elder of this plane. Immortal tool. If I can obtain the immortal tool in your hands, I can probably make up for the losses of this plane. Rong muttered to himself. Xiao Han, you are too arrogant. You actually dare to face this seat. Ah. Whatever methods you have, just use them all. Right now, this seat will make you wish you were dead. Chaos divine art. Kill for me. Finally, Rong did not continue to be long-winded. All the true chi in his body condensed. A strong immortal aura burst out from his half-immortal body. Countless true talismans exploded from his body, forming all kinds of talisman formations that were constantly being created and destroyed. Almost in an instant, Rong pushed all the true chi and the true meridians in his body to the extreme. He performed a divine secret technique that could destroy heaven and earth, kill people and destroy ghosts, and destroy all living beings. Rong grabbed with his big hand. Countless true qi fell from the sky. The holy song was loud and clear, and the immortal aura was melodious. It fell on the top of Xiaohan's head like a waterfall. As soon as Rong made his move, the void in all directions was torn apart by him. The fragile space was like a window made of paper. It could not resist his hand that covered the sky at all. He tore the void in the air. Immediately, thousands of long river cracks appeared in the depths of the space. Every long river had surging energy. These energies included starlight, Milky Way, nebula, frost, meteorites, flames, lightning. There were even traces of spatial cracks. All kinds of energy seemed to explode the entire world into chaos. It was as if heaven and earth were being split apart, order and rules were being destroyed, turning everything into chaos. New rules and order were being established. This level of true qi divine art had already surpassed the quality of most true qi divine arts. It was infinitely close to an immortal art. This was an attack that could destroy the world and descend a natural disaster. The rumbling impact and the aftermath of the attack caused the ground to crack. A river of flames, a river of lightning, a river of aurora. Thousands of powerful attacks attacked Xiaohan with the power to destroy the world. At this moment, Rong's arrogance soared to the sky. He was insufferably arrogant and looked down on everyone. He was as tyrannical as a king who had descended on the world. The elegance of a big shot was displayed to its fullest. Violent and tyrannical, unparalleled under the heavens. Who could resist such an attack? Even the tower master of Xiaohan's plane did not have such a method. This Rong did not attack, but once he did, it was as powerful as lightning. No one could stop him. It contained hatred towards Xiaohan, and with powerful energy, methods, tyranny, and the attitude of a monarch, he crushed and destroyed everything that stood in his way. This was Rong, the leader of a powerful plane. He was definitely not some random person. Moreover, this was an attack launched in the hallucinatory demonic realm, where the density was extremely high. Rong's energy was even depleted by a third because he tampered with Xiaohan's body. Without a doubt, if it was outside, Rong would be at his peak state. Such an attack, Xiaohan would not be able to resist at all. Even his thoughts would not be able to keep up. In an instant, he would be blasted into dregs and turned to ashes. It is indeed powerful. This Rong is already an arrow at the end of its flight, but he is still so savage. Even those great elders that I killed, although they were all existences that had opened the heavenly eye, once they met Rong, they would die instantly without any suspense. This was Rong's killing blow. It definitely contained the power to cut off rivers and tear apart continents. It was also fortunate that it was inside the hallucinatory demonic palace. This Rong's attack speed was disrupted by the hallucinatory demonic realm, and it was much slower. Otherwise, my bones would have already turned to ashes now. In the time it took for sparks to fly off a flint, a lot of shock also emerged in Xiaohan's mind. Furthermore, Xiaohan also had self-awareness. He was relying on the environment of the hallucinatory demonic palace. Only then could he contend with Rong. In terms of combat power, he and Rong were really worlds apart. If it was outside the hallucinatory demonic palace, even if Xiaohan made the first move and executed his strongest demonic technique, most likely he would also be instantly turned around by Rong and directly killed. Xiaohan. A frontal attack, this seat wants to see what you use to block it. After locking onto your position and restricting your mysterious movements, you are just trash. Rong roared savagely. Right now, Rong's attack was like a huge iron hammer descending from the sky and smashing towards an egg. Without a doubt, once it was smashed, the entire egg would explode into pieces. In the split second when Rong's attack was about to hit Xiaohan, the hallucinatory demonic realm that covered the sky was compressed by several times, causing a large area of space to become turbulent and all kinds of illusions to appear. Moreover, the air became unbearably dense. The hallucinatory demonic realm that was compressed was like a lump of paste, tightly wrapping around Rong's killing blow. Slow. The attack that was originally as fast as lightning and a thunderous strike, under the penetration of the hallucinatory demonic realm, actually suddenly slowed down. Xiaohan's eyes and hands were sharp. He moved like a fleeing rabbit and instantly jumped away. Although his figure was in a somewhat sorry state, he still managed to dodge it. What? He actually dodged this seat's all-out attack. Rong's attack that was almost in the bag was actually dodged by Xiaohan, causing him to be shocked. Activating the hallucinatory demonic realm to interfere with this seat's killing blow. This hallucinatory demonic realm is formless and material, pervasive and pervasive. Even true qi can permeate through it. Truly powerful. However, what's even more powerful is that you, Xiaohan, can control the hallucinatory demonic realm as you please. It's as if the hallucinatory demonic realm in this devil palace is a part of your body. How powerful. This seat has seen countless people, but I've never seen such a genius like you. However, although you can control the hallucinatory demonic realm and interfere with this seat's attack, it also consumes a lot of your mental strength, right? In the end you will still die. There's no suspense. Rong Aoao roared. It's my turn to attack. After Xiaohan dodged Rong's killing blow, he didn't have the slightest bit of negligence. At the critical moment, his mental strength once again wrapped around the hallucinatory demonic realm that was nearly 10,000 meters in circumference. He instantly compressed it and directly enveloped Rong. All of a sudden, between heaven and earth, a kind of earthen yellow color emerged. In the next moment, the center of this earthen yellow color suddenly exploded. A earthen yellow snake head rose up like a giant dragon. It opened its bloody mouth and viciously swallowed Rong. Of course, this was not the real snake head. It was an illusion formed by the hallucinatory demonic realm. Boom! Suddenly, this earthen yellow snake head with protruding horns scuttled into Rong's brain. As if he was filled with wisdom. Puchi. In Rong's brain, a strange sound burst out. All of his movements actually came to a halt. All the true qi attacks were instantly affected and vanished like smoke in thin air. Enter the devil state for this young master. Xiaohan roared sternly. Rong? A leading figure of a powerful plane. This young master will slaughter. Obtain accumulation. Relying on this move to make my plane's people succumb to the devil state and die one after another? Suddenly Rong's facial expression became ferocious. As expected, after a large amount of hallucinatory demonic realm is compressed and directly poured into the brain and sea of consciousness, even those great elders of this plane can't bear it. Xiaohan successfully used the hallucinatory demonic realm to bombard Rong's sea of consciousness, just like how he dealt with the evil hero and the elders of Rong's plane before. If there was no accident, Rong's movement would be completely confined. He could only activate his spirit and soul to resist the hallucinatory demonic realm. After losing the ability to resist, he would be refined alive by Xiaohan, boiling a frog in warm water. However, on Rong's face, there was actually a fearless expression. This seat has been thinking about how to deal with this move of yours for a long time. Ah! Immortal Qi energy. Burn for this seat. Boom! From every pore and cell of Rong's body, immortal Qi rushed out, rolling like smoke. Thousands of strands of immortal Qi curled up and all seeped into the heavenly eye in between Rong's eyebrows. All of a sudden, Rong's heaven eye burst forth with boundless brilliance and magnificence. All of a sudden, all the immortal Qi poured into Rong's sea of consciousness through the heavenly eye and began to repel the hallucinatory demonic realm that attacked Rong's sea of consciousness. Rong's facial expression became incomparably calm and insufferably arrogant. Idiot! This seat has the body of a half-immortal. Do you think that it's so easy to be possessed by the devil? What an idiot! This seat's body contains immortal Qi. By burning this immortal Qi and merging it into the sea of consciousness, it can strengthen the spirit and protect the soul. Ah! You probably think that since you can make the great elders of this plane to be possessed by the devil, you can certainly make this seat to be possessed by the devil too, right? Ah! Really funny. Yes, the 6 great elders who died in your hands had the same realm as this seat. They all opened 101 true acupoints and opened the heavenly eye. Once they opened the heavenly eye, they could see the immortal Qi between heaven and earth and collect the immortal Qi to condense their body and cultivate the body of a half-immortal. But this seat opened the heavenly eye thousands of years earlier than the 6 great elders. Ah! In this plane, at least 70% of the immortal Qi was absorbed by this seat. The 6 great elders only divided the remaining 30% of the immortal Qi together. Haha, this seat's immortal body, as well as the immortal Qi energy stored in my body, far surpassed the 6 great elders. This seat consumes the immortal Qi to make this seat maintain the purity of my soul and not be possessed by the devil. Xiaohan, your time of death has come. Chapter 452. Ha! Xiaohan, you scum. Why aren't you dead yet? Rong burst into hysterical laughter, tears bursting out from his eyes. At this moment, his entire body was bathed in the ethereal immortal Qi. Sacred light crisscrossed and his mind was clear and bright. The hallucinatory demonic realm that had infiltrated his consciousness was forcibly dispelled, and even purified. Xiaohan, your expanded aperture realm cultivation is worse than an ant. Your only trump card is to use the hallucinatory demonic realm to kill with a borrowed knife. But now, this seat completely ignores these hallucinatory demonic realm. My mind is clear and my mind is clear. The seat would like to see what other tricks you have? Ah, vengeance. This seat will crush you bit by bit, inch by inch. Revenge for the outstanding talents of my plane. When this seat leaves this hallucinatory demonic palace and reaches the outside, I will definitely force you to reveal the coordinates of that trash plane and personally lead an army to suppress it. All the females of your plane will be reduced to the lowest level prostitutes. All the males of your plane will be killed into dregs. All the living beings of your plane will be used as a blood sacrifice for the many talents of my plane that have passed away. This Rong, compared to those great elders killed by Xiaohan, was much, much stronger. The immortal qi stored in his body was too abundant. And Xiaohan suddenly stopped moving. His entire body did not move an inch as he looked at Rong indifferently and muttered. Really difficult to deal with. Looks like I can only use my final trump card. What? Xiaohan. You're actually so calm? What a joke, your life is like a fish on the chopping board, ready to be slaughtered by this seat. You are still pretending to be mysterious? Really stubborn. Rong laughed sinisterly and pointed at Xiaohan. Now, it is useless even if you deliberately act mysterious. You will die without a doubt. No one in this world can save you. Rong did not believe that Xiaohan could turn the tables. The difference in strength between both sides was too great. There was no possibility of turning the tables. Xiaohan, the only thing you can rely on is the hallucinatory demonic realm in this devil palace. Right now, the hallucinatory demonic realm is ineffective against this seat. You are as anxious as a stray dog. Accept your fate. Rong's arrogance was extremely arrogant. And Xiaohan, do you really think that my trump card is only this hallucinatory magic realm? Wrong. Suddenly, the corner of Xiaohan's mouth pulled into a cold smile. His eyes flashed with extreme excitement and eagerness. Keng, the crisp sound of a blade being unsheathed rang out from Xiaohan's eyes. Xiaohan's temperament. It began to rise steadily. Become sharp. Become cold. He became like a king. Overlooking the world. He had an ominous premonition. It instantly seized Rong. Hong, a heaven-defying saber aura soared into the sky from Xiaohan's body. His great accomplishment stage saber intent was instantly brewed to the extreme. Yes, Xiaohan's true trump card. It wasn't just the hallucinatory bewitching realm, but saber intent. To put it simply, the power of saber intent was closely related to two aspects. First, saber intent in one's own realm. Xiaohan's saber intent was at the great accomplishment stage. 2. The strength of his mental energy. Xiaohan cultivated the extinguishing sky decimating earth mental technique and cultivated to the 19th set of mental finger technique. The mental energy in his sea of consciousness was thick and viscous, almost solidifying, causing every drop of mental energy to be as heavy as a mountain. At this moment, Xiaohan had almost drained all the mental energy in his sea of consciousness and added it to the great accomplishment stage saber intent. Suddenly, a white light that was as dense as fog seeped out from Xiaohan's sea of consciousness. Rays of light, auspicious air, heavenly flowers fell, hymns flew. At the same time, Xiaohan's eyes also became domineering and sharp, revealing his sharp edge and penetrating everything. The air of a king gushed out unrestrainedly. Po, 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 po. Wisps of saber intents were emitted from the white light and exploded in the sky like a divine glow. In an instant, a huge formation of saber intents appeared in the sky. Saber immortals, saber sovereigns, and saber artists could be seen walking in it. The saber chi traversed tens of thousands of miles, slaughtering the heavens, destroying the ages, and destroying the universe. The next moment, the saber light that filled the sky condensed into a natal saber chi with a radius of several meters and a length of several hundred meters. It also contained Xiaohan's mental energy, shining like a pillar. With a whoosh with the speed of light, it suddenly slashed towards Rong. This saber chi cut through the void, killing gods and ghosts, slaying demons and immortals. Its speed surpassed light. The saber chi cut through the sky, indestructible, and shook violently, causing the heavens and earth to resonate. The saber chi cut through the entire hallucinatory demon palace, causing countless illusions to explode. Ashes and smoke dispersed. The hallucinatory demon palace, which was formed purely from the hallucinatory demon realm, had large areas of destruction, showing the smell of fragmentation. The airflow between heaven and earth fluctuated wildly. Where the saber chi vibrated, tornadoes appeared, piercing through the void, destroying all 6 paths. Humans and beasts were not spared. What? Natal saber chi? All of a sudden Rong screamed in shock. His hair stood on end and a chill ran down his spine. Every pore on his body was invaded by the saber chi, making him feel like he had fallen into an ice cellar. In the blink of an eye, Rong activated his life potential. In his third eye, the immortal aura surged like tides. His movements were unbelievably fast. With a slight shake of his body, a shadow was left behind. At the critical moment, he dodged the saber chi that was faster than the speed of light. This dodge seemed simple, but in fact, it consumed Rong Hai's immortal chi. It was almost a life-saving dodge and he was in a sorry state. However, whoosh, then something strange happened. The natal saber chi that Rong had dodged and brushed past him suddenly changed direction. This natal saber chi, as if it had a mind of its own, turned around and slashed towards Rong from behind. One should know that the natal saber chi had been strengthened by Xiao Han's mental energy, which was equivalent to a part of Xiao Han's body. Xiao Han could control it as he pleased, as if it was his own arm. He could change direction at will and turn around at will. It was very mysterious. This time Rong could no longer dodge. Roar. Bastard. Little bastard. Rong let out an unwilling and desperate howl like a wild beast that was on the verge of extinction. The next moment, puff, the natal saber chi swept across Rong's body. Whoosh, 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 the lingering aura of the saber chi swarmed into Xiao Han's sea of consciousness like tired birds returning to their nests. Xiao Han's face was extremely pale, and his eyelids were as heavy as lead. He was on the verge of collapsing. One should know that this slash was aimed at an almost invincible figure. Xiao Han could not be allowed to make any mistake. He must kill him with one strike. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles in the future and he might be killed instead. Therefore, this slash had used up all of Xiao Han's natal saber chi and mental energy to execute this slash with all his might. After this slash, Xiao Han felt as if he was hollowed out and wanted to fall asleep. As for Rong, he stood still and looked at Xiao Han indifferently. What a powerful saber intent. I have never seen such a dazzling sight. Such a brilliant slash. In the sky and on the ground. There shouldn't be such a slash. But I didn't expect. Xiao Han, you actually executed such a slash. It seems that your mental energy is really too terrifying. It's beyond my imagination. So, I really didn't expect a head-on confrontation. I will still die in your hands. Shockingly, I still can't accept this. In this hallucinatory devil palace, I am affected by the interference of the hallucinatory devil realm. My attack power is greatly weakened, causing my battle strength to be less than half of my peak. If we were outside, Xiao Han, you wouldn't be able to kill me? If we were outside, the one who would die would definitely be you. Xiao Han, do you admit it? Oh, Xiao Han shrugged his shoulders. Yes. I admit that if we weren't in this hallucinatory devil palace, even if my saber intent was mighty, I definitely wouldn't be able to kill you. You could kill me with one finger. But there aren't so many ifs in this world. Winner takes all, loser takes all. Death is death. Winner takes all? Death is death? Rong let out a miserable laugh. Bo, 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 pooh. Immediately after, firecracker-like sounds rang continuously from Tsong Rong's body. In an instant, his body was densely covered with tens of thousands of saber scars. Finally, bang! Rong's body exploded into a pile of minced meat and powder. Even the true chi spirit stones and treasures stored in his true acupoints were all cut and shattered. I finally killed a great figure. It wasn't easy. This great accomplishment saber intent is indeed matchless and invincible. It can even cut the body of a half-immortal. But it consumed too much of my strength. Once Rong died, Xiao Han collapsed from exhaustion and suddenly fell down. However, at this moment, Xiao Han's temperament was even more stable. The true acupoints in his body were even more smooth and flawless. Killing Rong allowed Xiao Han to obtain indescribable accumulation and benefits. 1 hour later, Xiao Han finally let out a sigh of relief. He was not in a hurry to leave this hallucinatory devil palace. Instead, he sat cross-legged and looked down. Both of his hands formed a seal and absorbed the hallucinatory devil realm that was wandering around him to replenish his lost mental strength. At the same time, Xiao Han was also evaluating and concluding. Seriously speaking, it wasn't my natal saber chi that could cut Rong's half-immortal body with one slash. The reason why I killed him so easily was because he did something to my body and locked onto my life aura fluctuation, which consumed some of my energy. Then, I activated the hallucinatory devil realm and blasted it into his sea of consciousness. He had no choice but to consume his immortal chi energy to avoid being possessed by the devil. After all, his consumption was too great. Forget it, I don't care so much. I will take a good rest for a few hours to recover my mental strength and physical strength. Then I will leave this devil palace. After a few days of cultivation in this devil palace, I have gained a lot. It has laid a solid foundation for me to enter the genius zone. Now, I have some capital to compete with the geniuses from other planes. Outside the hallucinatory devil palace. At this moment, the hundreds of evil heroes in Rong's camp were in a state of chaos. And the evil heroes on Xiaohan's side were in a state of shock and speechlessness. What? There's only one exit left? Our many elders, our many evil hero companions and the great Lord Rong, could it be that they will be trapped in the hallucinatory devil palace? Roar. The evil heroes on Rong's side all looked as if they had lost their parents. There's only one exit left. Xiao Mingqiu couldn't help but look worried. This is a little dangerous. I don't know if the last one to come out will it be junior brother Xiaohan? Chapter 453. At this time, outside the hallucinatory devil palace, there was a complete uproar. Especially the people of Rong's side, except for Xiaohan's 5 slaves, all of them were grimacing in pain, scared out of their wits and lost their composure. What's going on? Why is there only one exit left? There are 1,000 exits. Why is it like this? Only a few hundred people have been teleported out from our side in that trash plane. There should be hundreds of exits left. Why is there only one? Is there a mistake? There must be a mistake. Otherwise it's impossible. With Lord Rong's means, he is almost invincible, and all the great elders are powerful figures. The hallucinatory devil palace can't stop them. There must be a mistake. The chivalrous people of Rong's side all screamed at the same time. They couldn't accept the fact that there was only one exit left. Gradually their tone was full of doubt. And Xiaohan's side. Tower Master, if there is only one exit left, there is a mistake in the calculation of the number of people teleported out. 1,000 exits will not disappear automatically. For every person teleported out, there will only be one exit that disappears. Less than 200 people teleported out from our side, and less than 200 people on Rong's side. There should be more than 600 exits left. Could it be that the exit has been destroyed and there is only one left? This is equivalent to breaking the rules of the hallucinatory devil palace. This is against the natural order. An elder said to the Tower Master in fear and trepidation. Suddenly, a few chivalrous people walked over slowly. These few chivalrous people had been kidnapped by Rong as hostages to lure Xiaohan into the trap. One of the chivalrous people lowered his voice and said to the Tower Master, it's Xiaohan who did it. Xiaohan can destroy the exit. Xiaohan can not only use the hallucinatory devil realm to kill the people on Rong's side, but also, he can destroy the exit unscrupulously. We have stayed in the hallucinatory devil palace for a few days, and we are very clear about these things. Ah? The Tower Master screamed out, and then quickly glanced at the chivalrous people on Rong's side with the corner of his eyes, and quickly fell silent. Then he spoke in a voice so soft that it was almost inaudible. If that's the case, then, all the elders of the Rong plane will be buried in the illusory devil palace. There's only one exit left. Even if they are still alive, they won't be able to come out. It's too horrifying. Even I can't calm down. There are so many elders. There were also a few elders who had opened their heaven eyes. Just like that, he died in Xiaohan's hands. What kind of immortal artifact does it have? Within the hallucinatory demon palace. After several hours of recuperation, eating and refining a large amount of hallucinatory magic mirror, Xiaohan's mental energy had already recovered to its original state. His physical strength had also reached its peak. He felt refreshed. Spirit reaches to the rainbow. The only flaw was that his natal saber chi had yet to be completely replenished. The saber strike that killed Xiao Rong nearly drained all of Xiaohan's life saber chi. After several hours of recuperation, Xiaohan's life saber chi had only recovered about 20 to 30%. Xiao Chen's life saber chi recovered rather slowly. Alright, let's go out. Now that we've dealt with this powerful enemy, I'm sure that the people from our plane will not encounter any more obstacles on the way to the space springboard. Xiaohan stretched his body. He strode forward with large strides towards the last exit. As he walked, he couldn't help but let his mind wander. After reaching the space springboard, we'll be able to teleport to the Genius Zone as we wish. The day of the opening of the Genius Zone is getting closer and closer. I wonder how many influential figures of the planes will gather in the Genius Zone. I wonder what kind of immortal artifacts there are in the Genius Zone. I'm really looking forward to it. Xiao Han was familiar with the way and finally arrived at the last exit. Get out. Xiao Han no longer hesitated and stepped into the exit. The stable power of spatial teleportation immediately wrapped around Xiao Han and pulled him slightly, causing him to enter the teleportation state. At the same time, the exit began to close and disappear. The entire hallucinatory magic palace. Rumble. 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 Disintegrate. Melt. Dissipate. Collapse. Outside the hallucinatory magic palace, the people of Rong's plane and Xiao Han's plane were clearly divided. They were all discussing among themselves and the situation was rather tense. At this moment, boom, 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 boom. The hallucinatory magic palace not far away collapsed. It turned into many hallucinatory demonic boundaries and completely disintegrated. The sky was filled with auspicious light, beautiful luster and rosy clouds. The huge hallucinatory devil palace seemed like it was about to completely dissipate. What? The hallucinatory magic palace is starting to disintegrate? The heroes of Rong's plane and Xiao Han's plane were shocked by the scene in front of them. At the same time, an auditory hallucination resounded in everyone's ears. The hallucinatory magic palace has been destroyed. 1,000 exits have all disappeared. The hallucinatory magic palace has been destroyed. 1,000 exits have all disappeared. As the auditory hallucination dissipated, the entire hallucinatory magic palace turned into streaks of scattered hallucinatory magic realm and flew in all directions like ribbons. Rong? Lord Rong and the elders? What happened? Where are they? Where are our people? I can't see them. We still have hundreds of people in the Devil Palace. Now that the Devil Palace has been destroyed, why are our people gone? Where did they go? The heroes of Rong's plane were now all screaming in horror. They kept rubbing their eyes and staring at the location of the Devil Palace that had been disintegrated into thousands of strands and was covered with clouds and rosy clouds. They didn't see anyone. They didn't even see a ghost. Oh, Lord Rong. Some of the heroes let out a sorrowful cry, and some evil and ominous premonitions surged in their hearts. And the 5 slaves of Xiao Han were also communicating with each other through spiritual waves. It seems that Master has won a great victory. Let's not talk about Rong for the time being. Now all the great elders and elders should have been killed by Master. Could it be? Could it be that the so-called invincible Rong also died in the hands of Master? Very likely. There is only one exit left, but we can all clearly feel Master's breath of life. Master left an imprint in our souls. If Master meets with an accident, this brand will disappear. But at this moment, the brand that Master planted in our souls is still unforgettable and has not dissipated at all. It can be seen that Master is definitely still alive. If Master is still alive, it is very likely that Rong has already been killed by Master. Master is too strong. I don't know what method he used to kill the insufferably arrogant Rong. And the camp of the heroes of Xiao Han's plane? The hallucinatory demon palace is gone. Where is junior brother Xiao Han? Why don't I see junior brother Xiao Han coming out? Xiao Mingqiu focused his eyes and looked over. For a moment, he did not find a figure coming out of the hallucinatory demon palace that had disappeared. Xiao Han will be fine. A large group of heroes who had received Xiao Han's kindness all shouted in unison. At this moment, boom! The power of space exploded in the chaotic hallucinatory demon realm. Then, a human figure. It gradually appeared. And it quickly stabilized in the space. Someone was teleported out. Yes. However, only one person was teleported out. Yes, it's one person. Why is there only one person? Many heroes of Rong's plane and Xiao Han's plane shouted at the first moment. Phew, I'm finally out. Xiao Han gradually stabilized his body. Then he dusted off the dust on his robe and looked up. He saw the people of his plane not far away. Xiao Han saw big senior brother Xiao Mingqiu, the ancient giant Luo Tianyu, the tower master, the ancient giant Yan Qi, and the familiar faces that he had rescued from the hallucinatory demon palace. All of a sudden, Xiao Han felt as if he had been in a different world. Immediately, Xiao Han controlled his true qi and crossed the void, walking towards the camp of his plane. As he walked, Xiao Han's spiritual wave naturally spread out. Suddenly, Xiao Han's body shook. He only felt that his spiritual wave, in this stable space, could actually cover an area of 1,000,000 miles. Within a range of 1,000,000 miles, nothing could escape the detection of Xiao Han's spiritual wave. After leaving the hallucinatory demon palace, Xiao Han's spiritual wave became extremely sharp, and he could observe everything down to the smallest detail. Moreover, he had a feeling of contentment, unrestrained and no longer being restrained by anything. It felt very good. After coming out of the hallucinatory demon palace, my spiritual force no longer suffered any interference or pressure. Naturally, I can release it as I wish. Xiao Han was well aware of this. At this moment in the camp of Xiao Han's plane, many demons, the Tower Master and many elders had clearly seen Xiao Han. In an instant, cheers and shouts of joy erupted from the camp. The atmosphere was heated and boiling. Xiao Han. It's Xiao Han. Xiao Han is out. Ha ha ha. Our benefactor, in the end, managed to escape from the hallucinatory demon palace unscathed. The only remaining exit was obtained by the young demon with the most potential in our plane, Xiao Han. The hallucinatory demon palace has collapsed. In other words, Rong and those tyrannical elders have all died? And over at Rong's side, there was absolute silence. Each and every one of them felt their hair stand on end, and they were as silent as cicadas in winter. They looked at Xiao Han with their mouths agape and their throats gurgled, but they could not speak. In the next moment, the hallucinatory demon realm that was broken down by the Devil Palace began to evaporate and disappear completely. Rong, Lord Rong and the elders and many of our companions still haven't come out. Only a young man came out from that trash plane. The Devil Palace is gradually disappearing. Lord Rong and the others, all the demons from Rong's plane were now in a state where they were about to collapse. They had a premonition that something disastrous and terrifying was about to happen. Xiao Han walked to the side of his eldest senior brother, Xiao Mingqiu, and laughed loudly. Eldest senior brother, I'm out too. Now we can set off to that space springboard. I think we can still make it in time, right? Xiao Mingqiu said in a daze. We can. In the hallucinatory demon palace, 10 days is equivalent to 1 day in the real world. We should hurry to the space springboard now and then teleport to the genius zone. If the journey is smooth, the genius zone will not open before we arrive. Junior brother Xiao Han, where are Rong and the elders of his plane now? Xiao Mingqiu's voice was trembling when he asked. All of them have fallen? Xiao Han lowered his voice and said. Hearing this, Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu and the others almost fainted. At this moment, Xiao Han. Suddenly, the pagoda master led a few elders towards Xiao Han. Their faces were full of joy, but deep in their eye sockets, there was a flame of greed flashing. Xiao Han was stunned. Soon, the pagoda master and the elders surrounded Xiao Han. Xiao Han, you're indeed a young hero. You've made a great contribution for this plane. I know very well that if it wasn't for you, many of our demons would have been trapped in the hallucinatory demon palace. If it wasn't for you holding back Rong and the elders of his plane, once they were teleported out, a one-sided battle would have broken out. We would never be able to defeat the experts of Rong's plane. Xiao Han, this is a first-class contribution. Reward according to your contribution. Don't worry, I will definitely reward you according to your contribution. When this matter in the genius zone is over and we return to this plane, I will definitely reward you greatly. I will make you bring honor to your ancestors. Moreover, the entire Pure Rain sect will also rise to the heavens. I'm just doing my best. Xiao Han casually said. He felt that every move of the pagoda master seemed to have a purpose. It seemed like he was here to reward Xiao Han's merit, but in fact it was not that simple. After a pause, the pagoda master said to Xiao Han in a soft voice. Xiao Han, hand over your immortal artifact. Give it to this plane. Bring benefit to this plane. Chapter 454. Celestial Weapon? Xiao Han was dumbfounded by the pagoda master's words. With a blank expression, he blurted out the question. What celestial weapon? The moment these words left his mouth, one of the 12 elders surrounding Xiao Han, other than the pagoda master, revealed a disdainful and mocking smile on his face as he shouted. All right, Xiao Han, no one here is an outsider, so there's no need to hide anything. Whatever grudges you had in the past, you should let go of them now. When we go out, the demon heroes of our plane from top to bottom should unite as one. We should work together as one. Only then will we be able to overcome the difficulties and cross the river together. Xiaohan, you definitely have an immortal artifact. We are all smart people. Don't pretend to be ignorant. Oh. Xiaohan was not a stupid person. When he heard the elder's words, he naturally knew what was going on. Alright. This bunch of trash actually thinks I have a celestial weapon so I can sweep through the illusory devil palace. Now they're shameless enough to ask for a celestial weapon from me. They're too shameless. Xiaohan's expression immediately turned cold. Without batting an eyelid, he looked at the pagoda master and the elders. The elder began to speak non-stop. Xiaohan, we all know your cultivation level. We also have a rough idea of your demonic arts and battle prowess. Logically, it's impossible for you to do as you please in the illusory devil palace, kill the people from the wrong realm, break the rules of the illusory devil palace and destroy the exit. I'll be frank. I'm sure you have a celestial weapon. Moreover, it's very likely to be a supreme-grade celestial weapon that can increase one's spiritual energy. What do you think? I'm right? Take it out and contribute it to the realm. What do you think? Another elder joined in and said with a fake smile, that's right. Xiaohan, take out the celestial weapon. Xiaohan, listen to me. I've always been a person of reason and not of kinship. I'm very fair. That's right, Xiaohan, you relied on this immortal artifact to turn the tide and force the Rong plane to retreat again and again. Even the Rong plane itself was probably trapped in the demon palace and died. It was you, Xiaohan, who created such a great achievement. Your hard work and contributions are great, no one can go and erase you. However, a celestial weapon. It was too heaven-defying. Especially in the legends. An immortal artifact that focused on mental power. Its value was immeasurable. With this celestial artifact, our entire plane will transform. From being weak, they had become rich and powerful. However, Xiaohan, to be fair and impartial, things like immortal artifacts are not things that you can control. After all, your cultivation realm is still too low. Opening aperture realm. Your foundation is still lacking. You can't control it. Moreover, an innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. Once the secret that you have an immortal artifact in your hands is exposed, you will not be able to escape. I'm afraid you'll be harmed instead. Even your family and sect will be implicated. This kind of immortal artifact can only fall into the hands of our elders' council. Only when it fell into the hands of the pagoda master could it be considered as having an owner. Xiaohan, you're still young. You don't have the tolerance and virtue to control an immortal artifact. Moreover, you're far from being able to unleash the might of an immortal artifact. Xiaohan, think about it. With your cultivation realm and the immortal artifact in your hand, you're already able to defeat Rong and the many elders under him. So, what if you hand this immortal artifact to the pagoda master? With his immortal eye realm and supreme heaven eye realm, what will happen? Another elder said with a trembling voice. His eyes were filled with fanaticism. With the immortal artifact in his hand, the pagoda master will definitely be invincible. He'll conquer countless planes and achieve 1,000 years of hegemony. The 12 elders surrounded Xiaohan and started barking at him. Because the temptation of an immortal artifact was too great. Mortals simply couldn't resist this kind of temptation. It was not an exaggeration to say that the value of an immortal artifact was more valuable than the value of a plane or even several planes combined. Xiaohan, the ancient giant Yanqi, also walked over from afar. The muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched slightly. Xiaohan, previously in the Devil Palace, it's all thanks to you that I was able to escape unscathed. I Yanqi am very grateful to you for this. When we return to the plane, I will definitely repay you. However, the matter of an immortal artifact is not a small matter. It must not be handled carelessly. It concerns the future prosperity of our plane. With this immortal artifact, our competitiveness in the genius zone will definitely increase. Xiaohan, take it out. Give it out. You were born in this plane and grew up in this plane. Your rise today is partly due to your own talent and partly due to the plane's nurturing. Now that you've grown up, you should also nurture the plane. Give the immortal artifact to the pagoda master. Your cultivation realm is too low. It's a waste for the immortal artifact to be in your hands. Moreover, you have many techniques from the demon race. Demons and immortals are like dragons and tigers. The immortal artifact is not beautiful in your hands. Xiaohan, take out the immortal artifact. Xiaohan, take out the immortal artifact. Xiaohan, take out the immortal artifact. For a moment, the 12 elders and the ancient giant Yanqi surrounded Xiaohan and tried to persuade him. All of them sounded as if they were trying to reason with Xiaohan, but in reality, there was a hint of threat in their words. The pagoda master remained silent and looked at Xiaohan with a playful expression. Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu and the others were pushed to the periphery. For a moment they did not know what was going on. The demons of the Rong Plain were petrified. They looked at the hallucinatory demonic palace and the beautiful hallucinatory demonic realm that was gradually dissipating like fireworks. Rong? Lord Rong. Elders? The demons of the Rong Plain seemed to be possessed. They murmured in a daze, Rong? Lord Rong. All the elders will definitely come out. They all have half-immortal bodies. They are invincible in the secular world. It's impossible for them to be trapped in the Devil Palace. At this moment, Xiao Han was completely enraged. Xiao Han was besieged by the Tower Master and a group of elders, all of whom were asking for the so-called immortal treasure. This caused his blood to boil, and his face to flush with excitement. This was simply too much. If it was not for Xiao Han, most of the demons of this plane, including Yan Qi, would have died in the hallucinatory demonic palace. It was impossible for them to survive. Now Xiao Han had saved the entire plane with his own strength. After coming out, not only did he not treat them with sincerity, but he even schemed against each other and wanted a foot when given an inch. Even a clay figurine would have some anger. Let alone Xiao Han, who had always been unrestrained. Right now Xiao Han was completely enraged. His heart was filled with rage and his killing intent was wild and violent. Ha ha ha. Suddenly Xiao Han laughed maniacally out of anger. Celestial artifact? Celestial artifact? How ridiculous. Let's not talk about whether I, Xiao Han, have a celestial artifact or not. Even if I do, what right do you have to demand it from me? Idiot. They actually created such a big scene to coerce and bribe me. You really repay kindness with evil. Ask yourselves, if it was not for me, Xiao Han, taking responsibility, would all of you still be alive? You would have been killed by Rome. Now you dare to show off in front of me. Money moves people's hearts. Even antiques like you who have cultivated for tens of thousands of years cannot avoid greed. However, you are too stupid. Celestial artifacts are heaven-defying, and the value of any celestial artifact is unimaginable. It is even related to the important matter of becoming an immortal. Since that is the case, why should I, Xiao Han, hand over the celestial artifact to you for nothing? Do you really think that I, Xiao Han, am 3 years old? All of you get lost. Get lost far away. Are all of your heads clamped by a door? Get lost. Xiao Han actually began to curse in public. This was intolerable. The scolding caused the elders to be dumbfounded. They had been in high positions in this plane for a long time, and they had never been scolded by the demons of this plane. Even the pagoda master rarely spoke ill of them. This was the first time they were scolded by a young boy in front of them. Get lost. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Xiao Han scolded coldly, then narrowed his eyes and looked at Yan Qi. Yan Qi, you get lost too. I saved your dog life, and you still dare to be so noisy in front of me? Get lost. Otherwise you won't even know how you died. Xiao Han's words seemed to have frozen the entire place. The originally blue and calm space suddenly felt a chill run down the spines of the elders, Yan Qi and the rest. A murderous aura lingered around each of them. Finally, an elder with bulging veins on his face roared with a murderous aura and an ominous glint in his eyes. How dare you? Xiao Han. How dare you? You evil creature. All along you have been ignorant and incompetent. You secretly colluded with the demons and learned their skills. Let's not talk about that. Last time at the Wuxia Tower, you fought and killed countless innocent demons. You have no respect for the law. Just this crime alone is enough to exterminate your entire clan. However, the heavens have the virtue of cherishing life. You should have exterminated your entire clan with no luck. However, the elders and the pagoda master were magnanimous and pardoned you. They even gave you the right to go to the genius zone. Not only did you not feel grateful and contribute to the plane, but you were also overbearing. Instead, you were aggressive. You have a celestial artifact. Hand it over now because you are a sinner. Only by handing over the celestial artifact can you make up for your sins. I will kill you all. Finally, Xiao Han's murderous intent exploded without restraint. His blood was boiling, and his murderous intent could not be suppressed. Ah! Xiao Han, we know a thing or two about that celestial artifact of yours. Your cultivation realm is too low. Therefore, you can only use the celestial artifact and use the hallucinatory demonic realm to make people lose their minds and kill themselves. However, this huge space is very calm, and there is no sign of the hallucinatory demonic realm. You even said that you would kill us? What an idiot. After being humiliated by Xiao Han, Yan Qi's eyes turned ferocious. He completely forgot about Xiaohan's kindness and roared, "The celestial artifact is invincible, but it is restricted in your hands. Without the hallucinatory demonic realm, you can't use the celestial artifact at all. You still want to kill us? Let's see how you are going to kill us." Chapter 455. Xiaohan did not expect that after he left the hallucinatory demon palace, before he had the chance to clash with the remnants of the Rong plane, he would fall out with the higher-ups of his plane. However, Xiaohan did not plan to feign civility. After the training in the hallucinatory demon palace, Xiaohan's heart was no longer the same as before. It was extremely tenacious. Moreover, he had cultivated the extinguishing sky and earth mental technique to the 19th set of mental finger techniques. His saber intent had soared, and the power of his natal saber chi could cut through ghosts and gods and destroy all living things. He also had a supreme demonic technique. All these made Xiaohan fearless. He was confident that he could deal with the elders and even the pagoda master. Moreover, Xiaohan knew that the pagoda master and the elders were all clones. Their real bodies were still suppressed in the Yaoxia pagoda. In terms of true battle power, in a stable space without the hallucinatory demonic realm to use, Xiaohan believed that he was not a match for the tower master at his peak. He was also not a match for these elders. However, this was referring to their true bodies. Xiaohan still had some confidence in dealing with their clones. In his sea of consciousness, the natal saber chi in the liquid mind power planet had recovered by 40%. Yan Qi, you're just a level 9 true chi cultivator. How dare you jump out here? You're courting death. Do you know? Since you keep saying that you want me to kill you, then come out and face me. See if I dare to kill you or not. I don't care if I can kill you or not. Xiaohan no longer had any apprehensions. The evil heroes around him, such as Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu, did not know what was going on. They wanted to intervene but did not know what to do. Yan Qi was furious. He was about to step out and fight Xiaohan. At this moment, shut up. The pagoda leader's voice could finally be heard as he took a step forward. His face was filled with a dignified and righteous aura. All of you be polite to Xiaohan. Yan Qi, you said that if it wasn't for Xiaohan, you would have died in the hallucinatory demon palace. How dare you disrespect Xiaohan? You're too presumptuous. Yes, the pagoda master is right, Yan Qi said. And you guys? The pagoda master glanced at the 12 elders. Xiaohan's contributions to this realm are greater than his mistakes. I have already forgiven him for his mistakes in front of the demon hero pagoda. Now you are bringing up the past again. How absurd. Listen up, from now on, if anyone dares to criticize or offend Xiaohan, this seat will not forgive them. That's right, the celestial artifact belonged to Xiaohan. No one had the right to covet or take it away from him. An immortal artifact is so precious. There's no reason for Xiaohan to give it up for nothing. Ta Ming's impassioned speech rendered the 12 elders speechless. Xiaohan, don't be angry. The immortal artifact is yours. There is no doubt about that. With that, the pagoda master looked at Xiaohan with a pleasant expression. As for Xiaohan, he didn't think much of it. TSK, the 12 elders played the bad cop, and the pagoda master came out to play the bad cop. Ah, what a joke. However, do you think I, Xiaohan, am someone you can fool? Xiaohan, what do you think about this? We are currently in the vast universe. The journey to the genius zone is very difficult and full of thorns. It's hard to predict whether we will be lucky or not when we reach the genius zone. The pagoda master looked at Xiaohan sincerely. Xiaohan, lend me the celestial artifact temporarily. The power of this celestial artifact in my hands will definitely be extraordinary. Xiaohan, don't worry. I'm only borrowing it temporarily. I'll definitely return it to you. How about this, Xiaohan? When your true chi cultivation base improves again so that you can control this celestial artifact perfectly, I'll return it to you. What do you think? Xiaohan was completely speechless after hearing the pagoda master's words. Borrow? He's trying to find a way to ask for it. Shameless beyond belief. Shameless beyond belief. In a split second, Xiaohan's mind was filled with many thoughts. It seems like these elders and the pagoda master have made up their minds to covet the so-called celestial artifact in my possession. Threats, promises, and all kinds of methods are endless. If I refuse them, I'll be entangled with them along the way. Now that I'm going to the genius zone, I can't possibly kill all of them and go there alone, can I? If that's the case, I might not even be able to get a place to enter the genius zone. That surname Su'a will use a thunderous method to kill one of them in front of everyone to make an example out of them. Establishing prestige. A thought emerged in his mind. Kill to establish prestige. However, at this moment, that young man. Suddenly, hundreds of demons from the Rong Plain shouted at Xiao Han at the same time. Then they swarmed towards him like a swarm of bees. How dare you! Some of the demons from Xiao Han's plane immediately got into formation and confronted them. Are you going to humiliate and bully us? Umph. Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu took a step forward together. Pagoda Master? The 12 elders looked displeased. However, they did not act rashly. Then they looked at the Pagoda Master with inquiring eyes. Pagoda Master, none of the elders from the Rong Plain are left. They are just a group of demons. There are not many at the 9th level of True Qi. Most of them are at the 8th level of True Qi. If they truly dare to reach for a yard after taking an inch, we'll seize this opportunity to massacre them too. Several elders said, becoming restless. That's right. Without the Rong Plain and dozens of elders, there were less than 200 demons. With the Pagoda Master here, Xiao Han's plane could still control the situation. Thus, these elders were fearless. Of course, if the other party had Rong Plain, these elders could only tuck their tails between their legs. However, the Pagoda Master quickly glanced at Xiao Han and immediately said in a low voice, "Don't act rashly. Let's see what they want." Soon, the survivors of the Rong Plain, nearly 200 Yao Xia, flew over and formed a camp. One of the leaders, who was at the 9th level of True Qi, pointed at Xiao Han. "Young man, come out. We have something to ask you." Oh? Xiao Han's expression changed. He could not help but lick his lips. "I just wanted to kill someone to establish my dominance. I didn't expect that someone would come to me eagerly. It's really a pillow when I'm sleepy." As his thoughts flashed, Xiao Han did not say anything. Instead, he directly strode over with arrogance. Junior brother Xiao Han. Xiao Mingqiu wanted to follow closely behind. The dozens of demons who had received Xiao Han's kindness also wanted to walk out with Xiao Han. Unexpectedly, Xiao Han waved his hand, indicating for everyone to not move. For some unknown reason, after coming out of the hallucinatory demon palace, Xiao Han's every move was deeply dignified. Even his every expression seemed to have formed a climate. With such a wave of his hand, Xiao Mingqiu and the others immediately stood still. Xiao Han leisurely walked towards the remaining demons from the Rong Plain and smiled faintly. "What? You have something to ask me? Young man, where's our Lord Rong? Where's our elders? Where are our fiendish hero companions?" Quite a few of the 9th level True Qi fiendish heroes shouted in unison. Their tone was filled with fear, uneasiness, fear, shock, and an inexplicable anger. They finally could not hold it in any more. After waiting for a long time, there was no news from their side. In the end, they did not wait for Rong and the elders to come out. Instead, they waited for the entire hallucinatory demon palace to disappear bit by bit. This caused them to directly target the last person to come out of the hallucinatory demon palace, Xiao Han. They directly came up to interrogate. Moreover, boom, nearly 200 demons moved in unison. They spread out and surrounded Xiao Han. Seeing this situation, Xiao Mingqiu and the other demons were all furious and wanted to rush up. Suddenly, the Tower Master waved his right hand. An invisible force field shook, causing the demons who were about to rush up to be frozen, unable to move an inch. "Don't act rashly. Don't kill. This time the celestial world has a decree. Before entering the genius zone, all ordinary planes are not allowed to kill each other. Everyone should value peace," the Tower Master said with a faint smile. Then he looked at Xiao Han with a thought-provoking gaze. A wisp of spiritual sound was transmitted into Xiao Han's sea of consciousness without a sound. "Xiao Han, now that Rong is dead, these people are without a leader. You are the last person to come out of the hallucinatory demon palace, so you are the most suspicious. They have lost their rationality and will definitely torture you. Although you have a celestial artifact, there is no hallucinatory demon realm for you to use. The demons surrounding you are at the 8th level True Qi, and some are even at the 9th level True Qi. Some of them have very strong foundations and their combat power is several times more terrifying than Yan Qi's. I'm afraid you won't be able to handle them. How about it? Give in. As long as you agree to lend me the celestial artifact, I will immediately help you eliminate these people." Xiao Han did not even look at the Tower Master. He lazily narrowed his eyes and glanced around at the chivalrous men surrounding him. His lips curled into an arrogant and disdainful smile. "You guys are, really idiots? How dare you ask such an idiotic question? If you want to escape from this hallucinatory demon palace, you can only go through the internal exit. Now the exit has completely disappeared, and the hallucinatory demon palace has collapsed. Your Lord Rong, your elders, and your companions are all dead. Ha, this is obvious and you still want to ask me? Ha, idiots. Roar. As soon as they heard Xiao Han's words, the group of demons burst into howls, as if they were mourning for their parents. All of them were scared out of their wits, and their mournful cries were earth-shattering. That's impossible. How could Lord Rong die? Lord Rong is the spiritual leader of our plane. He is an immortal who is destined to become an immortal in the future. How could he die? Without Master Rong, this plane of ours is finished. It's all over. Without Lord Rong and the elders, we will be invaded by the demon race sooner or later. Our entire plane is in danger. The crowd was howling. The next moment, little bastard. How did you manage to find the last exit? Why is our great and immortal Lord Rong buried in that damned hallucinatory demon palace? Little bastard. You deserve to die. Why is it that a trashy acupoint expansion realm like you, a half-cripple, can come out of the hallucinatory demon realm alive and well, while our supreme Lord Rong met with misfortune? The heavens are unfair. Little bastard, you deserve to die. These demons did not suspect that Xiao Han was the culprit behind the massacre of Lord Rong and the elders. However, when they lost control of their emotions, they naturally had to find someone to vent their anger on. Xiao Han had become their target. Close to 200 demons stared at Xiao Han with blood-red eyes. Their killing intent was extremely violent. This Xiao Han, under normal circumstances he would never be a match for these crazy fellows. Yan Qi revealed an expression of schadenfreude. The 12 elders also nodded and smiled. Right now he must beg for the pagoda master's help. Otherwise he will be killed instantly and dismembered. Xiao Han, hurry up and beg me. Otherwise you might be dismembered. The pagoda master smiled and sent a telepathic message. It seemed that he had Xiao Han in his grasp. However, suddenly Xiao Han laughed bitterly and said indifferently, "All of you are noisy in front of me. Do you know that you are courting death? Ah, I have been provoked and I have nowhere to vent my anger. Since all of you are here to court death, I will fulfill your wish." Suddenly the saber aura around Xiao Han's body rose. The next moment, boom, a natal saber chi that looked like an evil dragon soared into the sky from Xiao Han's sea of consciousness. The saber light was brilliant and unparalleled. All of a sudden the natal saber chi exploded, split, and turned into a light screen that looked like a fishing net. It shone brilliantly and directly swept in all directions. Po, 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 po. Other than 5 slaves, the 200 demons that surrounded Xiao Han were all cut into pieces by the saber net. Powder. Densely packed minced meat splattered everywhere. The smell of blood covered the sky. There were tens of millions of pieces of corpses and meat. I said that you are courting death. You are courting death. Xiao Han said lightly. For a moment the scene was silent. To be continued. Chapter 456. Xiao Han activated the Great Success Realm Natal Saber Chi and added it with his supreme mental power. With one slash, all the remaining evil heroes on the Rong plane, except for his 5 slaves, were killed. They were cut into pieces by the saber chi. Moreover, Xiao Han felt that killing outside was especially satisfying, unlike in the hallucinatory demon palace, which was full of restrictions. He could do as he pleased. Sweep away everything. However, this slash also consumed 30% of the natal saber chi, leaving only 10% of the natal saber chi in Xiao Han's sea of consciousness. Of course, this slash also played the role of killing people to establish his prestige. Now, the many elders who were clamoring at the beginning, as well as the pagoda master and Yan Qi, all had their throats choked. They breathed rapidly and did not say a word, staring at Xiao Han with bulging eyes. Xiao Han's 5 slaves knew what was good for them and immediately knelt on the ground. They kept quiet out of fear and said in fear, "Spare us. Please spare us. We are willing to serve you as our master for the rest of our lives." Xiao Han waved his hand. "Get up." The master and the servants also put on a little act. The 5 slaves stood up and obediently stood behind Xiao Han with their hands down. Xiao Han turned around and used his indifferent eyes to sweep over the pagoda master and the others. The corner of his mouth pulled into a provocative and arrogant smile. "Pagoda master, are you only satisfied when the fish dies and the net splits?" Xiao Han this. At this moment the pagoda master was even a little incoherent. One slash to kill 100 people and kill many people at the 9th level of true chi, directly killing them, This is the Great Success Realm Saber Intent, and your mental power is ridiculously strong. Xiaohan, you have actually grown to this level. This. The 12 elders also looked at Xiaohan bitterly. They did not expect Xiaohan to be so strong. His methods were so violent, in an instant he killed the remaining evil heroes on the Rong Plain. They were all killed. Too powerful, this Great Success Realm Saber Intent is almost perfect. It's almost perfect? One of the elders sighed in admiration. Xiaohan, I also cultivate the Tao of Saber. However, your Saber Intent can directly suppress my Saber Intent. I'm not your match. The younger generation will surpass us in time. The younger generation will surpass us in time. The elder's face showed a desolate expression. He shook his hand. I won't mention the matter of the immortal artifact. I won't mention it again. These elders all looked at Xiaohan in horror. In the depths of the eye sockets of a few of the elders, a ruthless expression gradually appeared on his face as he looked at Xiaohan with a murderous look. Tower Master, Xiaohan's lifeblood saber energy is indeed powerful. It was grand and majestic, sweeping through the world. However, although his life saber chi was invincible, it was not inexhaustible. On the contrary, the lifeblood saber energy is stored in the soul sea of the saber user. Every time it is killed, it will consume a lot of energy. This Xiaohan killed 100 lives with one slash just now. I think he must have consumed a lot of energy. Why don't we take this opportunity to suppress him? We have completely fallen out with Xiaohan. With Xiaohan's temperament, it will be very difficult for him to let us go in the future. Moreover, the speed of his growth is too heaven-defying. We are all old antiques who have seen countless people. In our lifetime, we have also witnessed the rise of countless geniuses. But now, looking at the history of the entire plane, all the so-called outstanding geniuses, the so-called heaven-bestowed geniuses, in front of Xiaohan, are all just a joke. Xiaohan was the true genius who had surpassed all of us since ancient times. Not only does his talent surpass our plane, even if he goes to other planes he will also be a monstrous existence. His combat strength is changing every day. This time Xiaohan almost destroyed the entire plane with his own strength. Tower Master, we can't control this kid. I suggest that we kill him while he is still young and not completely powerful. Moreover, he has consumed a lot of his lifeblood saber energy. Let's kill him. Huh? The Tower Master stared at Xiaohan. A strange light flashed in his eyes as he fell into deep thought. Xiaohan understood the meaning of this. His expression did not change as he looked at the Tower Master with a faint smile. Tower Master, do you want to use force? Why don't you try? Shio. Wisps of lifeblood saber energy rose from the top of Xiaohan's head, creating hair-like cracks in the space. At the same time, Xiaohan glanced at the group of elders with murderous eyes. In his eyes, the saber light and the sword shadow made the elders' eyes hurt. Their skin turned cold as if they were being cut by the sharp edge of a saber. It was so creepy that they lowered their heads and felt a chill in the depths of their hearts. Soon, a few other elders also sent a soul message to the Tower Master. Tower Master, we must not make things difficult for Xiaohan anymore. Tower Master, in the hallucinatory Devil Palace, many of the evil heroes have received favors from Xiaohan. If we forcefully suppress Xiaohan, it will definitely arouse public anger. Moreover, Xiaohan's methods are too fierce and domineering. He can already kill a 9th-level True Qi expert. With such a demonic talent, if he enters the genius zone he will definitely fight for immortal treasures for the plane. Right now, the most important thing is to win over Xiaohan, not to suppress him. Tower Master, please reconsider. Hearing this, the Tower Master glanced at the evil heroes of his plane and then looked at Xiaohan again. Then he laughed and said, Good. Xiaohan, you have risen. You have completely risen. You will become a great force of our plane. Your future is limitless. Now that you have the ability to control and protect that immortal treasure, I will not ask for it. You can keep the immortal treasure for yourself. Good Xiaohan, you are very good. Well said. Xiaohan laughed coldly. In his heart he felt a little more relaxed. Right now, Xiaohan's focus was on the genius zone. He did not want to bother with the Tower Master and the other bastards. His first task was to rush to the genius zone and enter the genius zone to search for immortal treasures. Therefore, even though they were in the same bed, Xiaohan could only pretend to be courteous for the time being. Of course, the premise was that the Tower Master and the others did not go too far. If they took an inch and wanted a foot, Xiaohan could only draw his sword against them. Good, let's continue. This Tower Master was unusually thick-skinned. Now, he acted as if nothing had happened and was amiable to Xiao Han. Xiao Han, let's go. We still need about 150 days to reach the space springboard. After passing through the hallucinatory Devil Palace, we should be able to deal with the dangers along the way. Let's go. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The Tower Master led the way and flew in the air. The 12 elders followed closely behind. The evil heroes. All of them followed the Tower Master and flew. The large group of people set off again. Their goal was the space springboard that could transport them to the Genius Zone. Xiao Han still flew side by side with his eldest senior brother, Xiao Mingqiu, calmly. The 5 devil hero slaves hung far behind in a humble manner. Damn it. At this moment, Xiao Mingqiu was also indignant. His eyes were filled with anger. Junior brother Xiao Han. The Pagoda Master and the elders had gone too far. You have made great contributions to the plane, but they are suppressing and bullying you like this. It's really despicable. Heh, Xiao Han smiled indifferently. It's okay. Eldest senior brother, seriously speaking, the weak are prey to the strong in this world. However, in the face of benefits, the Tower Master and the others just did not hide it. Eldest senior brother, don't be angry. I just want to enter the Genius Zone and look for immortal opportunities. As long as they don't go too far, I can bear it. The big picture is the most important. Yes. Xiao Mingqiu took a deep look at Xiao Han before repeatedly nodding his head. Junior brother Xiao Han, your current temperament and spirit are like 2 different people. You're like a different person now. You have a supreme state of mind that is neither sad nor happy. If the sect master knew about your current situation, he would be very pleased. Junior brother Xiao Han, pretend to be polite to those bastards for now. However, if you're in the Genius Zone, remember to hold back. Otherwise, the Tower Master and the others will kill you after you've outlived your usefulness. I know, Xiao Han said with a smile. Suddenly, Xiao Han. Yan Qi actually dilly-dallied and flew to Xiao Han's side. His face was filled with grievance and fear. His eyes were filled with regret. Xiao Han, just my quarrel with you I was impulsive. I hope you don't mind. I'm here to apologize to you. Yan Qi was indeed regretful. Initially, he had thought Xiao Han's battle prowess was all due to the celestial weapon and the hallucinatory devil stage. He did not expect Xiao Han's natal saber chi to be so tyrannical and invincible. Earlier, when Xiao Han killed 100 people with a single slash, he had also killed many 9th-level True Energy Realm martial artists from the Rong Realm. It could be said that any of the 9th-level True Energy Realm martial artists who died under that slash were stronger than Yan Qi. In that case, it would be as easy as blowing off dust for Xiao Han to kill Yan Qi. Like picking up grass. Therefore, Yan Qi could only suffer in silence. His heart was filled with regret. He blamed himself for contradicting Xiao Han just now. Get lost. Xiao Han did not even look at Yan Qi. Brother Xiao Han, you must forgive me. Yan Qi was filled with grief. Brother Xiao Han, it was indeed an unintentional mistake. Xiao Han's eyes focused on Yan Qi. You're a despicable person who goes back on his word. You don't even have a backbone. Get lost now or I'll kill you with one slash. Get lost. Xiao Mingqiu scolded while gnashing his teeth. To Xiao Mingqiu, scolding a powerhouse was a pleasant thing to do. Advance. The large group of people advanced toward the space springboard. They were also very careful along the way. It was a 150-day journey, and no one could predict if there would be any dangers along the way. However, just as the Pagoda Master had said, after passing through the hallucinatory demon palace, the journey was actually quite easy. Occasionally, there would be some hallucinatory demon realms appearing in the space. The density of the realms wasn't too high, and it wouldn't cause them to experience hallucinations or hallucinations that would cause them to fall into a trance. Everyone could handle it. Even if they encountered a slightly larger hallucinatory demonic realm, they would be able to avoid it. 120 days had passed. It was a smooth journey. 0 casualties. Ha! We'll reach the space springboard in 30 days. After that, we'll be teleported to the Genius Zone. The Genius Zone hasn't opened yet. There's still time, haha, there's still time. The Pagoda Master burst into laughter. The 120-day journey was extremely smooth. This also made many of the devil warriors and elders calm down. They were not as nervous and fearful as when they first set off. 140th day. Eldest senior brother, there are still 10 days left. Xiao Han smiled and chatted with Xiao Mingqiu. The Genius Zone is getting closer and closer to us. Xiao Mingqiu was also excited. I wonder what the situation in the Genius Zone is like. There are so many experts from different planes heading to the Genius Zone this time. I'm very nervous, especially after experiencing the disturbance from Rong's group of strong disciples. I feel even more helpless. Our plane is really too weak. That's right, junior brother Xiaohan. Don't let your guard down too much in case you encounter any danger during the last 10 days of the journey. It's fine. Xiaohan's spiritual force spread out and radiated millions of miles of area, monitoring at all times. Eldest senior brother, this large area is close to 10 million miles. It's very safe. Now, the natal saber qi in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness had also recovered to its original state. This gave Xiaohan more confidence to face all kinds of dangers calmly. 1:45 day. And? Suddenly, Xiaohan's expression froze. Junior brother Xiaohan, what's wrong? Xiao Mingqiu hurriedly asked. I discovered a large number of humans coming from all directions. They're flying in the same direction as us. My spiritual force sensed countless experts. 8th-stage True Qi, 9th-stage True Qi, and 10th-stage True Qi Immortal I realm. Xiaohan's face was cold. Eldest senior brother, we've encountered the devil warriors from other planes. However, it's not just one wave. There are at least 10 waves of people from different planes. Chapter 457. Xiaohan and the others were still 5 days away from the space springboard they had chosen in advance. Of course, this space springboard was definitely not only chosen by Xiaohan's plane. There were bound to be a large number of planes that chose this space springboard. Therefore, now that Xiaohan's mental fluctuations had spread out, it was not surprising at all that he had discovered at least a dozen groups of people from different planes. What? More than a dozen waves of powerful people from different planes? Hearing this, Xiao Mingqiu was slightly stunned, and a look of horror immediately appeared in the depths of his eyes. Luo Tianyu, who was standing next to Xiao Mingqiu, was also trembling. That's right. They were almost annihilated by Rongyu, which made the fiendish heroes of Xiaohan's dimension feel like they had been bitten by a snake. Every one of them became frightened. When they heard that there were people from other dimensions approaching, they were instinctively frightened. Xiaohan did not take it seriously. Instead, he smiled and comforted them. Eldest senior brother, Brother Luo, don't be nervous. There are many planes going to the Genius Zone, and we will meet people from other planes sooner or later. Not every plane's people are as cruel and sinister as Na Rong. After a pause, Xiaohan's spirit wave spread out like an octopus and said, They are approaching us. East, northwest, south, southeast. The evil heroes from those planes will find us within an hour. Eldest senior brother, Brother Luo, if there is any sudden change and we have a dispute with the evil heroes from other planes, I will remember to take you into the demon compound of despair. Xiaohan said with a smile. I'm going to encounter the endless geniuses from other planes? I don't know why. I actually have a little bit of expectation and excitement now. Inexplicably, Xiaohan's blood was slightly boiling. The liquid spiritual power planet in his sea of consciousness, as well as the great accomplishment natal saber qi, all transmitted obscure fluctuations. Compared to when he had just set off, Xiaohan's current state of mind. He was more stable and more confident. Every cell in his body was filled with the desire to explore the unknown. Every cell in his body was filled with indomitable courage. At this time, the Pagoda Master and the 12 Elders. Their spiritual power was far less than Xiaohan's, so they had not found anything unusual for the time being. Xiaohan was too lazy to inform the Pagoda Master and the others. An hour later, alert! Suddenly, the Tower Master's figure stopped, and he let out a panicked scream. Everyone pay attention. Be on alert. More than 10 groups of heroes from other planes are rushing towards us. What? More than 10 batches of heroes from other planes? The elders also lost their composure. Their cries rang out one after another. Each and every one of them was usually swaggering around arrogantly. But now he was also exhausted and listless. What should we do? Pagoda Master, what do we do now? Alright. Calm down. The Pagoda Master's face was also gloomy. This is the only way to get to the space springboard. There will definitely be many demons passing through this path. They might not necessarily make things difficult for us. Calm down. Everyone calm down. Later on, when we encounter other demons from other planes, we should all be polite and not take the initiative to provoke trouble. You should be fine. After saying that, the Pagoda Master waved his hand and suppressed the situation. Let's just focus on moving forward, don't make a fuss. Keep going. The army continued to advance. However, there were many demons. They all took the initiative to approach Xiao Han. It seemed like they wanted to seek some protection. It was almost a subconscious action. After the battle in the hallucinatory Devil Palace, these demons had subconsciously regarded Xiao Han as their protector. Half an hour later at last. Boom, boom, boom. In the east there was a tremor. A sound that caused even the starry sky to tremble rang out. A tall and burly man with immortal chi all over his body slowly walked over. There was a faint mark between his eyebrows. He had no one in his eyes and his aura soared to the sky. He was like an abyss and a mountain, and his every movement was full of the demeanor of an important person. Looking at his spirit and bearing, he was even slightly stronger than that of Na Rong. Ah! My children, after a long journey and passing through many dangerous places, we are finally on the right track and have arrived here. There are only a few days left before we reach the nearest space springboard. Ah! The tall and burly man laughed heartily. His voice rumbled and shook the entire void, causing it to sway and tremble. In the next moment, a dense group of young people and some elders walked out from behind the tall and burly man. These people's bodies were sparkling and the wind was surging. Regardless of whether they were men or women, they were all in high spirits. Their eyes overflowed with unconcealable confidence and ambition. 8th level true chi, 9th level true chi, and every one of them had an incomparably strong foundation. The pagoda master's footsteps involuntarily stopped, and he looked to the east with palpitations. His throat was dry as he murmured, "What a powerful plane. Our plane. It's hard to compete with it." In an instant, the pagoda master's gaze swept over the dozens of demons in his plane, and subconsciously felt that they were asking to be humiliated. He had no confidence at all. The 12 elders were also very dispirited. The demons were overshadowed. Even Xiao Mingqiu, who was always ambitious and neither servile nor overbearing, shook his head secretly. In the entire plane, only Xiao Han's state of mind was calm and unperturbed. He was neither servile nor overbearing, and his expression was calm. Instead, he looked at the wave of demons with interest and secretly evaluated them. Those younger ones are those who are below 10,000 years old and have met the requirements to enter the genius zone. Indeed, the demons in our plane can't be compared to them. For example, my eldest senior brother Xiao Mingqiu, who is less than 10,000 years old, has cultivated to the 8th level true chi formation realm. He has been a genius since he was young, but if he is brought to that plane he will not be able to stand. His strength and talent will definitely be at the bottom. The difference? In other words, after entering the genius zone, I will have to compete with these guys. I really am looking forward to it. Xiao Han couldn't help but touch his nose. Roar! Roar! The roar of giant beasts resounded. In the next moment, from the northwest direction, many wild beasts that looked like giant elephants broke through the void and came over. The domineering and savage aura shook the heavens and the earth. Hundreds of giant elephant savage beasts. They got into formation. The leader was a giant elephant with brightly colored fur. Riding on it was a middle-aged man wrapped in a beast robe. He had a square face. His hair was messy, and as he breathed in and out, immortal chi sprayed out. His entire body was filled with evil chi. He was emitting evil, powerful, violent, sinister, and even murderous aura at all times. The aura of darkness. On the giant elephant savage beast behind him, there were young men and women. All of them were wearing beast robes and had a fierce look in their eyes. They were very fierce. As soon as they appeared, they used provocative gazes to scan the surroundings. When they noticed the camp of Xiao Han's plane, they all burst into laughter. They were pointing fingers. The heroes of Xiao Han's plane were all very ashamed. They were too ashamed to show their faces. They lowered their heads and their aura was very timid. They had no confidence at all. Soon, in this space, from all directions, the people of the heroes of the plains had arrived. There were too many geniuses. The aura that they emitted overlapped, causing the surrounding space to faintly distort. Including Xiao Han's plane, there were a total of 19 people of the heroes of the plains gathered. The total number of people was tens of thousands. These people were either arrogant and unruly, or cold and gloomy, or murderous and fierce, or lazy and tranquil, or arrogant, so on and so forth. And the heroes of the various planes were now observing and evaluating the strength of the heroes of the other planes. Of course, among these 19 planes, not all were stronger than Xiao Han's plane. There were also some that were on par with Xiao Han's plane. There were even a few planes whose comprehensive strength was slightly inferior to Xiaohan's plane. For example, Xiaohan saw a plane with only 30 to 40 heroes, and most of them were in the 6th-stage expanded acupoint realm. In this way, from the pagoda master to the heroes of Xiaohan's plane, they felt a little comforted. At least their plane was not at the bottom, right? Xiaohan did not pay too much attention to the weak planes. Instead, he focused his attention on the powerful planes. Judging from their appearances, Xiaohan discovered that the geniuses from the powerful existential planes all exuded a sense of pride from the inside out. The pride that belonged to the geniuses and loneliness and hot-bloodedness. More than 10 planes, nearly 10,000 geniuses. These powerful planes each have a large number of talented people. Who knows how many outstanding people have emerged? Now the sand is washed away by the waves. Those who are selected to enter the genius zone are definitely not weak. Moreover, the number of the heroes who entered the genius zone is far more than this. These planes that I see now are just one of the many space springboards. There will also be a large number of planes entering other space springboards. It's just the tip of the iceberg. What I see now is really just the tip of the iceberg. After officially entering the genius zone, I will see more and more geniuses. Without a doubt, some of these geniuses have had fortuitous encounters. Just like me, a heavenly opportunity fell upon me. Some are extremely talented. Maybe their acupoints have expanded thousands of times. Some have met a good master and have been nurtured since young. Some have the heart of a strong person and never admit defeat. Seriously speaking, these guys are all my competitors. Xiaohan licked his lips. The people of the 19 planes gathered together. After a long while, a middle-aged man with the demeanor of an immortal said in a clear voice, "We're all heroes of the human race. Although we come from different planes, we're all the same. We're all responsible for killing demons and saving the common people. Alright, there's not much time left before the opening of the genius zone. Let's go to the nearest space springboard first. I also hope that the tower masters will restrain their subordinates and not cause trouble to other planes. Follow the decree of the immortal world. Peace is the most important. Don't fight against each other. Men of this plane, follow me." Xiao. As soon as he finished speaking, the middle-aged man with the demeanor of an immortal moved and flew forward. His subordinates followed closely behind him. Just like that, a large group of people from different planes flew towards the direction of the space springboard. "Let's hurry up as well." The tower master sighed. "Eldest senior brother, let's go." Xiaohan also moved forward. "I'm afraid we will encounter more planes when we reach the space springboard. It's getting more and more interesting." Chapter 458. Ever since he left his hometown and headed for the genius zone, time flew by, and it had been over 200 days. Xiaohan and the others did not have a smooth journey. On the contrary, they had experienced many obstacles and dangers. When they encountered the wrong plane, they were almost wiped out. With Xiaohan's help, this mediocre plane was able to advance to where it was today. Xiao, the densely packed chivalrous heroes of different camps flew toward the space gangplank. There are less than 5 days left. Xiaohan flew at the back of the group. TSK. Junior brother Xiaohan. There are too many geniuses. My eyes are filled with geniuses. I was really a frog in a well when I was in my own plane. Sai, there are so many geniuses and so many planes. In comparison, I feel like I'm just a speck of dust. Xiao Mingqiu said sadly. Eldest senior brother, don't be disheartened. Do you still remember the chivalry trials? Xiaohan laughed. Chivalry trials? Xiao Mingqiu was stunned. Yes. Xiaohan nodded affirmatively. Eldest senior brother, we've all been through the chivalry trials. In fact, to stand out in the chivalry trials, strength is one thing, but luck is more important. When I first participated in the chivalry trials, I was also a rookie. However, in the chivalry trials, I improved a lot and my mind was sharpened. I'm thinking that the genius zone probably doesn't only value strength, but also luck. Yes, little brother Xiaohan is right. Luo Tianyu nodded repeatedly. Maybe it's really luck. Brother Xiao, think about it. In terms of strength, Na Rong's plane is many times stronger than ours. However, it still fell at little brother Xiaohan's hands. On the other hand, our plane is advancing triumphantly, heading for the genius zone. This is also a kind of luck. Of course this luck is all because of little brother Xiaohan. When we enter the genius zone, I'm afraid we'll still have to rely on little brother Xiaohan. With that said, Xiao Mingqiu's state of mind became slightly more cheerful. Soon after, Xiao Mingqiu smiled in a carefree manner. I was worrying too much. How should he put it? Even if he could witness the elegant demeanor of those extraordinary people from other planes, this trip would not have been in vain. Immortal weapons and immortal treasures just go with the flow. Had junior brother Xiaohan, on the other hand, I'm very optimistic about you. Maybe you can get a share of immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Me? Xiaohan was speechless. Haha, that's right, little brother Xiaohan, you're a heaven-defying person. I'm also optimistic about you. Luo Tianyu also said seriously. No, no, no. Xiaohan shook his head repeatedly. I'm not belittling myself. I'm really nothing. Thinking about it, there were at least 1,000 springboards that could transport them to immortal Emperor Ju Dao's lair. Any one of these space springboards could be used by dozens of planes. On average, there are a few hundred people in each plane. How many people would there be when there are thousands of planes with space springboards? Xiaohan's question stunned Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu. At this time, one of the 5 slaves flying respectfully behind Xiaohan said in a well-behaved manner. At least millions of people of the right age will enter the genius zone. Maybe tens of millions of people are possible. Hiss. Xiao Mingqiu and the others gasped and felt their scalps go numb. When Xiaohan heard this number, he also stuck out his tongue. Millions? Tens of millions? TSK, it's really unprecedented, it's really spectacular. Forward. The chivalrous men from more than a dozen planes flew to the nearest space gangplank in a hurry. There was no longer any danger that could hinder them along the way. Even the sporadic hallucinatory magic land no longer appeared. It was completely a smooth road for Zhuang Kang. After a few moments, Xiaohan's spiritual force radiated outwards, and very quickly he discovered a floating meteorite in the void. This meteorite was about hundreds of miles long and wide. It was very huge. After scanning with his spiritual power, Xiaohan found that there were densely packed humans on the meteorite. Moreover, there was a strong wave of immortal qi on the meteorite, as well as the wave of teleportation that could reverse the void. Space springboard. Xiaohan blurted out. What? Junior brother Xiaohan, your spiritual power sensed the space springboard? Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu were shocked. Yes, we're almost there. Xiaohan nodded heavily. Get ready. We're almost there. We're finally here. Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu couldn't help but murmur excitedly. After a long journey of hundreds of days, we're finally here. Ah. It's not a waste. It's 265 days. Xiao Mingqiu took a deep breath. There are 23 days left until the genius zone opens. Xiaohan also narrowed his eyes. At the same time, the heroes flying in front of Xiaohan and the others burst into thunderous cheers. The atmosphere became heated. Some of the nosy heroes even whistled. Everyone has already found the location of the space springboard. Xiaohan understood. At this time, the pagoda master said loudly. Everyone pay attention. We're about to reach the space springboard. Be alert. We're here. We're here. The 12 elders and the heroes cheered as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Half an hour later. Finally, in the direction where everyone was flying, a huge meteorite appeared in front of them. Rather than calling it a meteorite, it would be better to call it a floating continent. Its length and width could be hundreds of miles. The enormous meteorite was fixed in place by a strange force. It didn't move an inch. At this moment, on the meteorite, there were densely packed heroes surging. Moreover, rays of immortal light rose from the dense mist and colorful light beams shot up to the sky. The characters were like fish and dragons, rising and falling in spirals. Space springboard. Xiaohan's spiritual power swept out and carefully observed. Oh. It turns out that in the middle of this meteorite, there is a huge and great space teleportation array. There is a spatial coordinate recorded on it. As long as enough supreme-grade true Qi spirit stones are placed at the eye of the array as energy, then the heroes standing in the array can be teleported directly to the lair of immortal Emperor Ju Dao. Well, the structure of this space springboard is also very simple. However, ordinary mortals, even in the realm of half-immortals, can't carve out such a huge space teleportation array. It's most likely a temporary array specially made by the immortals for this exploration of the genius zone. How generous. Now Xiaohan's heart was also clear at a glance. The chivalrous men from more than a dozen planes arrived and surrounded the meteorite. Land on the space springboard. Step on the space springboard and teleport. Ah. The genius zone, we're here. Ah. My children. It's time to serve the planes. There are 23 days left until the opening of the Genius Zone. We'll arrive in the blink of an eye. Ah. Let's go and teleport. The people from the dozen or so planes were all excited and couldn't hold back their excitement, so they went crazy. The Tower Master of Xiaohan's dimension also subconsciously rubbed some of the top-grade storage rings on his fingers as he said in a cold voice. I've prepared enough top-grade spirit stones for the teleportation. Everyone get ready. At this moment even I'm excited. Even my soul seems to be trembling. Right at this moment, Xiao. From the space gangplank, a brown-skinned, black-eyed, short-haired old man came flying out. His aura was smooth and flawless, making it impossible to tell his cultivation level. However, there was a faint mark between his eyebrows, which revealed the foundation of his half-immortal body. A godly aura emanated from his body. Xiaohan's spirit looked at the brown-skinned old man and felt that he was like an abyss, with no end in sight. Looking at him for a long time, one's spirit would be lost. A powerful person. Not much weaker than Rome. He must be at the Tower Lord level. Xiaohan quickly assessed. Brown-skinned? Yes, the chivalrous heroes of various dimensions that had appeared now, although they were all humans and their appearances were almost the same, there were still some subtle differences. For example, the humans from Xiaohan's plane were usually yellow-skinned, black-haired, and black-eyed. But now, when Xiaohan saw humans from other planes, there were dark-skinned black people, brown-skinned people, Caucasians. Some of them had azure blue eyes. Some had flaxen hair. The brown-skinned old man, suspected to be at the Tower Lord level, let out a friendly laugh. Ha! Hello everyone. Heroes from the various planes, I'm glad to see you here. Although we come from different planes of existence, we have one thing in common. We are all humans. After pausing for a while, the reddish-skinned old man laughed heartily. I've brought my children from my own plane to this space springboard for the teleportation. However, I arrived a day earlier than you. Yes, I and my subordinates arrived yesterday. Now, I'm about to teleport to Jianghu Immortal Emperor's lair with my men. There are some things that I'd like to tell you out of enthusiasm. Oh? The monsters surrounding the space gangplank were all stunned. Following that, a few powerful pagoda lords spoke in unison to the reddish-skinned old man. Friend, what do you want to tell us? The brown-skinned old man smiled. It's nothing important. Just listen to it. The exact coordinates of Jianghu Immortal Emperor's lair are engraved on the space springboard. Using top-grade True Chi Spirit Stones to teleport, the more people teleported, the more top-grade True Chi Spirit Stones would be consumed. The fewer people teleported, the less top-grade True Chi Spirit Stones would be consumed. The teleportation time was 15 days. Such a long teleportation is rare. But thinking about it, if one were to rely on their own flying speed, it would take at least 10,000 years to reach Jianghu Immortal Emperor's lair. Now it's only 15 days. Alright, I suggest that we line up one plane at a time and teleport one by one. Although I reached this space springboard with my men yesterday, it's been a long time. Everyone don't be anxious. Teleport from plane to plane, there's still time. There's still time. If we all rush up to teleport, it'll be hard to avoid chaos. As soon as he said that, the chivalrous men surrounding the space gangplank all nodded in agreement. Alright, line up for teleportation. The weaker planes will line up at the back, the stronger ones will teleport first. A middle-aged man in iron armor with an aura as deep as the sea let out a rumbling voice. Chapter 459. The reddish-skinned old man laughed amiably and carefreely. It seems that everyone here is a reasonable person. After arriving at the space springboard, we should try not to have any disputes or conflicts, let alone kill each other. After all, there is a formation left by an immortal on this space springboard. The immortal chi here is very dense. If there is any conflict here, it is disrespectful to the immortal. It is blasphemy. Blasphemy to the immortal, that is a grave sin. Moreover, the immortal world has specially sent a message that before entering the Genius Zone, all planes are not allowed to kill each other. Alright, everyone here is a sensible person, so I won't say much. You can discuss the order of transmission among yourselves. While he was speaking, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, the entire space gangplank shot out a series of magnificent and vast light beams. A large portion of the void was dyed in a beautiful, dreamy, and blurry manner. Countless immortal characters and secret talismans surged, evaporated, and soared. The immortal sound burst out. The sound of the great Tao rose and fell, causing people's souls to tremble when they heard it. With the space springboard as the center, the mighty power of space transmission blasted out circles of vortexes. Everyone, I will take my leave first. See you in 15 days. Ah. The reddish-skinned old man cupped his hands and quickly returned to the space springboard. Buzz, 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 the people on the space springboard disappeared one by one. They were all teleported away. The entire space gangplank was enshrouded in a hazy halo. It trembled. This kind of scene only made Xiao Han feel refreshed. What a powerful teleportation force. It feels as if the world has changed into mulberry fields and the stars have changed. A journey of 10,000 years was shortened to 15 days. This is definitely the means of an immortal. In front of such a mighty space transmission power, not only Xiao Han was shocked, even the countless evil heroes around the space springboard, including every Tower Master level expert, were deeply shocked, and their eyes almost became dull. Less than an hour later, the space transmission power disappeared. The waves calmed down. The space springboard that was originally full of people was now empty. It showed some loneliness and desolation. At this time, a few powerful Tower Masters said in a clear voice, "Tower Masters of the various planes, come over. We'll discuss the order of teleportation. Teleport in an orderly manner. Don't mess up. Alright, you guys stay here. I'll go discuss with the Tower Masters of the other planes," said the Tower Master solemnly. "I hope I can get a better order so that our plane can be teleported to the Genius Zone one step earlier and prepare in advance." With that, the Pagoda Master puffed out his chest and flew towards the other Pagoda Masters from the other planes. Ha! Xiao Han looked at the back of the Pagoda Lord and laughed coldly. "What kind of good order can we get from our plane? It's already very good that I'm not ranked last. That's right, the overall strength of our plane is too weak." Xiao Mingqiu also smiled in shame. Then he stared at Xiao Han. "Junior brother Xiao Han, the law of the jungle prevails in this world. The strong survive and the weak die. The weaker planes have no right to speak. For a plane like ours, if we have to queue up to enter the space springboard, we'll be at the bottom. Sigh, this is so frustrating. Junior brother Xiao Han, I'm afraid that the Tower Master will not be able to do much. I hope that you can lead our plane to win back our dignity." Oh, Xiao Han was taken aback. Then he shook his head and laughed. "Eldest senior brother, you're exaggerating." After saying that, Xiao Han sat down cross-legged in the void. He glanced around and saw the Tower Masters of the 19 planes gathered together and communicating rapidly. As for the Tower Masters of Xiao Han's plane, they were nodding and bowing, their faces full of smiles. They kept nodding their heads like chicks pecking at rice, their attitude extremely flattering. How boring. Xiao Han shook his head and took out some aged wine from his storage ring, as well as some dried chicken, duck, and fish. He distributed them to Xiao Mingqiu and the rest with a smile. "Eldest senior brother, we don't have to rush. It looks like we'll have to queue up for a long time. Let's drink. Let's drink while we wait." "All right." Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu, and a few other evil warriors immediately gathered around. After a short while, the Tower Master of Xiao Han's plane finally returned to his camp. "Oh, this?" The Tower Master's face was slightly awkward. He hesitated for a long time before stammering. After I discussed with the other Tower Masters, we decided on the order of entering the space springboard. We're not at the bottom. We're at the 15th position." Hua! As soon as he said that, the dozens of chivalrous spirits and the 12 elders all hissed. The 15th position? Yes, they were not at the bottom. They were not the last to enter the space springboard. However, there were only 19 planes in total. To queue up and be the 15th to enter the space springboard was extremely shameful. Alright, a moment of failure doesn't mean anything. Who knows, we might be able to gain something in the Genius Zone and launch a counterattack against those powerful planes. Who knows, we might even surpass them. The one who laughs at the end is the real winner. The Tower Master said a bunch of self-comforting words and sat down cross-legged. Everyone please wait patiently. Soon, the first plane to enter the space springboard was led by a Tower Master whose entire body was burning with holy flames and whose aura could cause the stars to tremble. The Tower Master's lineup was at its peak, and they entered the space springboard in a single file. What a powerful plane. It's several times more powerful than the Rong plane. There are more than 100 elders and no less than 20 elders who have opened their heaven eyes. Xiao Han held his breath. Not long after, the teleportation formation engraved on the springboard began to operate. Immortal light splashed everywhere, runes rose, and the entire springboard rumbled. Less than an hour later, everyone in that plane was teleported away. It's our turn. Another big shot whose body was glowing with boundless light stepped forward and led the thousands of fiends under his command toward the space gangplank. Boys, start the teleportation. Go to the genius zone immediately. Just like that, 19 planes lined up and took turns to enter the space springboard. Bursts of huge space teleportation power swept across, and the colorful light took away the evil heroes from each plane. Xiao Han's plane began to wait. TSK. I wonder what it will be like after the teleportation. Xiao Mingqiu stared at the space springboard. We'll see when the time comes. Eldest senior brother, it's almost our turn? Xiao Han shrugged and smiled. Let's drink. It's still early. We're only in the 6th batch. Luo Tianyu raised his cup and smiled. Wait. Finally, after who knew how many hours had passed, it's our turn. Finally, it's our turn. We've waited for so long. We can't wait anymore. Let's go. Let's enter the space springboard too. Finally, it was Xiao Han's turn to enter the space springboard. Be it the Pagoda Master, the 12th Elder or the evil warriors, they were all excited and their blood was boiling. They rubbed their palms and rushed to the space springboard. Eldest senior brother. Let's go. Xiao Han rubbed his hands and jumped onto the space springboard. Let's go. Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu stood on the left and right. On the space springboard. It was a meteorite with a length and width of a few hundred miles. The mysterious immortal chi was enshrouding the meteorite. Xiao Han and the others walked on the meteorite. Immortal talismans that looked like mirages swam around them like fish. They looked like they were made of jade, shining brightly and emitting a warm aura. It made everyone feel as if they were soaking in a hot spring. Their limbs and bones felt very comfortable. What pure immortal chi! The Pagoda Master opened the heavenly eye between his eyebrows and shot out a misty light, sweeping around. The immortal chi lingering on the space springboard is of an extremely high quality. TSK, it's much higher than the immortal chi in our world. If we absorb this immortal chi to refine our bodies, then forget it, how would I dare to absorb the immortal chi here? This immortal chi was left behind by the immortal who set up the teleportation grand array. I guess it's just an ordinary perfected immortal in the immortal world, not an immortal emperor. Then, the genius zone was created by immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, who was ranked 3rd in the history of the immortal world. The quality of the immortal chi here must be much higher than here. TSK, I can't imagine. Let's go. Everyone move forward. Follow me. The teleportation grand array is right in front of us. Let's hurry. Quick. Move faster. The Pagoda Master led the way. The others followed closely behind. Not long after, finally, an array with obscure lines and strands of immortal chi appeared in front of everyone. Strands of immortal chi flowed back and forth. Everyone stepped into the array and felt as if they were in a heavenly palace. It was too much for their eyes to take in. How magical! Xiao Han was also secretly amazed. He lowered his head and observed carefully. He also found that the array on the ground had vaguely outlined some universe space coordinates. In the middle of the array there was a concave array eye. It was filled with the lingering smell of the supreme-grade true chi spirit stones after they were burned. Everyone stand properly. I am now going to put the supreme-grade true chi spirit stones into the array eye. The teleportation is about to begin. Stand properly. The Pagoda Master walked to the array eye, trembling. The 12th Elder, Yan Qi and many other demon warriors were nervous and excited. They were like bridegrooms entering the bridal chamber for the first time and did not know where to place their hands and feet. Master, let's also get close to the array eye. Although Xiao Han's 5 demon warrior slaves were manipulated by Xiao Han and controlled perfectly, they still had their own thoughts and emotions. They were not pure puppets. At this time they were going to officially go to the genius zone. They could not help but be excited. At this time, the Pagoda Master had already begun to take out a large number of supreme-grade true chi spirit stones from his storage ring and put them into the huge concave array eye. Boom, 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 boom. The supreme-grade true chi spirit stones began to burn. The entire space gangplank began to tremble. The space grand array was activated. Whoosh, 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 the power of teleportation rippled like waves, sweeping through everyone's bodies. Continue to put in supreme-grade true chi spirit stones. The Pagoda Master quickly threw the supreme-grade true chi spirit stones he had prepared in advance into the array eye. After a moment, buzz, 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 more than 10 demon warriors disappeared at the same time. Whoosh, 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 beams of teleportation light shone on Xiao Han's body. In an instant, Xiao Han felt as if there was nothing beneath his feet. His feet had actually disappeared. Soon, his entire lower body disappeared. The teleportation has begun. The genius zone, I, Xiao Han, am coming. After a few breaths, Xiao Han's entire body disappeared. Chapter 460. 15191. Type. Fantasy Magic Author. My ugliness reaches the depths of my soul. This chapter. 460. Ju Dao's Lair. 15191. Save. The Tower Master threw the True Chi Spirit Stone into the concave eye of the formation on the space springboard. The raging energy burned and the great teleportation power surged like a tide. The teleportation began. The entire space gangplank began to tremble, radiating waves that caused one's heart to palpitate. All the monsters in Xiao Han's dimension were sucked into the teleportation power and disappeared without a trace. In the end, the Tower Master also disappeared. Genius Zone, I'm coming. The Pagoda Master also roared. Buzz, buzz, buzz. During the teleportation, Xiao Han only felt that his body was as light as a feather. His spirit fluctuation was deeply confined and condensed into a ball in Xiao Han's sea of consciousness. Furthermore, his line of sight was filled with blurry rays of light. Dazzling formations flew past Xiao Han's body at a rapid speed. Xiao Han's body could not move at all. He could not see the other monsters in his dimension. It was as if he was at the mercy of others. I have to teleport for a full 15 days. I have never done such a long teleportation before. I can't control my whole body, Xiao Han said in his heart. Then he closed his eyes and pretended to sleep. A long teleportation. Regardless of day and night. It was extremely boring, but there was an indescribable excitement. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 15 days later. Boom! A violent jolt caused Xiao Han's entire body to tremble. His vision was dark. Xiao Han even felt the space collapsing. I've arrived? The teleportation power has disappeared. I think the teleportation has ended. I've arrived at Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's lair. In a trance, Xiao Han heard voices, including the panicked and confused voices of Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu, and the others. After a short while, rumble, 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 the space shook. Then Xiao Han only felt that his feet were steady, as if he had stepped on solid ground. Xiao Han quickly steadied himself. He squinted his eyes, not daring to open them completely. His line of sight was filled with colorful spots of light. After several hundred breaths of time, the spots of light finally solidified into human figures. Xiao Han spat out a mouthful of turbid air and opened his eyes wide. He saw that he was surrounded by people: Pagoda Master, the 12th Elder, Yanqi Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu. There were dozens of heroes. His 5 slaves. Everyone has arrived. Xiao Han heaved a sigh of relief. Then Xiao Han looked up. In an instant, he was dumbfounded. He was stunned. Dumbfounded. He was petrified. His eyes were filled with people. It was a dense mass of people. This was a huge piece of land. Floating in the vast universe. Stand still. This land. It was hard to tell how big it was, but it stretched out endlessly as if there was no end to it. Xiao Han roughly estimated that the length and width of this land was definitely more than 10 million miles. Wow. Such a huge piece of land. It's comparable to the territory of most of the powerful empires in our plane. It's too big, too spectacular. Xiao Han sighed in his heart. However, compared to this boundless land, what made him sigh even more was the people. There were so many of them that they looked like ants. Xiao Han swore that he had never seen so many people before. Absolutely not. The endless stretch of land was filled with people. Heads were moving. There was a sea of people. Xiao Han looked as far as his eyes could see. It was all people and he could not see the end. Brown-skinned people, black people, yellow-skinned people, white people, people wearing light armor, people wearing cloaks, people wearing battle armor, men, women, youths, middle-aged people, old people. How many people were there? Tens of millions? 100 million? Xiao Han could not imagine. Just the sight of so many people made his scalp go numb. His heart was instinctively filled with fear and panic. A person in such a crowd was like a foam in the ocean. It was too insignificant. So many people. I can't count. Xiao Mingqiu instinctively lowered his voice. His voice was trembling and his legs were trembling. He slowly approached Xiao Han. His forehead was full of cold sweat. Junior brother Xiaohan. I have never seen so many people gathered together in my life. I'm afraid there are close to 100 million people. It's several times more than what we imagined. It's too terrifying. With so many people, if each of them blew a breath, a planet would explode. Xiao Mingqiu was not the only one who was scared silly. Even Xiaohan, who had unparalleled soul power, felt uncertain and very depressed. Eldest senior brother, there are so many people. Among them, there are many half-immortals with Immortal Eye Realm and Heaven Eye Realm. The aura is too terrifying. Now, I suspect that if a few ordinary immortals came here, they would be drowned by the people here. With so many people, we can kill immortals. We can definitely kill immortals. These people are the elites of countless ordinary planes. There are so many pagoda masters. We can definitely kill immortals. Even ants can bite an elephant to death. Xiao Mingqiu said in deep thought. Sure. The pagoda master shrunk back and turned around. He put his right middle finger on his lips and made a shushing gesture, indicating Xiaohan to keep his voice down. Boom, 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 boom. There were already quite a lot of people on this continent, but there was still an endless stream of people being teleported here from all over the place. The people standing on the continent spontaneously divided themselves into groups according to their planes. The barriers were clear and distinct, one by one. They didn't dare to speak loudly. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They were all well behaved and stood where they were, not moving an inch. No plane, no matter how powerful it was, would dare to disturb another plane in this extremely oppressive atmosphere. This was also why each plane was able to live in peace with each other. It took a while to adapt. Only then did Xiaohan get used to the heavy atmosphere. Then he looked left and right. In this place, Xiaohan's spiritual force was suppressed. His spiritual force, which could normally cover millions of miles, was now tightly confined in a small area, unable to be released. Because there were too many people and each of their auras was not weak. All kinds of auras were gathered together. So, once Xiaohan released his spiritual force, it was like hitting an iron plate, unable to dilute or penetrate it. Xiaohan observed inch by inch. There were countless people of all shapes and sizes, and there were all kinds of people. Some people emitted an aura that was like the arrival of the god of death. Some people emitted a thick bloody aura, causing people to involuntarily feel fear. Some people's willpower could definitely cause the opponent's soul to collapse instantly. Some people's aura was full of killing intent. Some people's aura was even more violent than the space storm. After looking for a while, Xiaohan's head was already swollen. He didn't dare to look for too long. Then he looked away and looked outside this vast continent. Xiaohan looked around. In the distant starry sky, there were countless small stars, planets, and ordinary planets without life. However, in front of him, extremely far away, there was a pure black planet floating in the air. This black planet seemed to be sealed by some kind of restriction. Therefore, people couldn't see its interior. They could only see a deep darkness. It was like an abyss. However, they could still vaguely feel that there was a subtle immortal chi radiating from the inside of the black planet. When they looked closely, it gave people an illusion that there was something mysterious and unimaginable inside the black planet. Eldest senior brother, look, that huge black planet in front of us. Xiaohan couldn't help but whisper to Xiao Mingqiu. I sensed that the interior of the black planet gave off the scent of a mystical kingdom. However, the entire black planet was sealed, making it impossible for anyone to see its full appearance. However, I had a feeling that there must be treasures inside the black planet. Yes, I also have the same feeling. Could it be that that is the genius zone? Xiao Mingqiu also looked at the black planet in shock. We can't say that the black planet is just the genius zone. At this moment, an elder who was standing not far away from Xiaohan walked a few steps forward and said in a low voice. If I'm not wrong, that place is the old nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. So big. Too big. The area of this old nest is not smaller than our plane. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao is really powerful and supreme. This is just one of the places where he stored his treasures in the lower realm. It's like a warehouse. Just the size of a warehouse is comparable to our plane. Just thinking about it makes me feel terrified. Our mental strength is not enough to penetrate through the restriction of the black planet. Therefore, we can only feel a trace of extremely weak immortal chi seeping out from the inside of the black planet. If an immortal were to observe it, he would be able to roughly see the bright civilization inside the black planet and the endless aura of immortal treasures. According to the description of the immortal world, the old nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao has piles of immortal pills, immortal weapons, and immortal techniques. His wealth is immeasurable. Seriously speaking, the Genius Zone is just a small part of the old nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. The Genius Zone is the outermost layer of this black planet. It's not the core. There's no definite information about how many layers there are in the old nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Maybe it's the 5th layer, the 6th layer, or the 7th layer. The only thing we can be sure of is that the deeper it is, the richer the treasures and the higher the quality. The outermost layer of the Genius Zone has fewer treasures and the quality is also lower. Of course, even so, it's still an extremely terrifying resource for us in the mortal world. A few immortal pills can change the fate of the entire plane. Every layer of the old nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao has its own rules and restrictions. Immortals are not allowed to enter the outermost layer of the Genius Zone. People over 10,000 years old are not allowed to enter. The elder started to introduce the place without stopping. At last, the elder said again, "Everyone please wait patiently. In about 7 days the Genius Zone will be opened. The moment the Genius Zone opens, it will be a glorious moment. Yes, this is the lair of the 3rd-ranked Immortal Emperor in the history of the immortal world. Just entering it once will not be a waste of your life. It's a pity that our age does not meet the requirements to enter the Genius Zone." Another elder said with a face full of pity, "Phew, big senior brother, there are still 7 days left. Let's sit down and wait." Xiao Han sat down cross-legged. There were so many people and there were countless experts among them. Xiao Han's mental state became very tired after looking at them for a long time. Therefore Xiao Han stopped observing and sat down to adjust his state of life and mental state. Chapter 461. A huge continent that was comparable to the territory of the most powerful empire of any plane was floating in the vast universe. More than 100 million human clan Taoists were clearly divided. They formed their own camps and lined up on this continent, waiting. They were looking forward to the opening of the Genius Zone. There was a black planet right in front of this continent. Inside this black planet, there would occasionally be supreme immortal qi leaking out. This was the treasure of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. The first layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, the Genius Zone, would be opened in 7 days. Most of the Taoists were sitting cross-legged now. They were extremely nervous and anxious, but they did not dare to make any noise. They could only wait patiently. However, the Taoists from the same plane would talk to each other in a low voice. The scene was too quiet and deathly still. Now Xiao Han's depressed and suffocating state of mind had finally calmed down. The liquid spiritual force star in his sea of consciousness was slightly opened and secreted a cool stream, watering Xiao Han's pores, blood and skin, making Xiao Han's spirit clear. "Junior brother Xiao Han, let's close our eyes and take a nap. The atmosphere is too depressing. It makes one's spirit uncomfortable. It's very exhausting. Let's take a rest. Anyway, there are still 7 days before the Genius Zone opens. It's useless for us to stare at it now." Xiao Mingqiu subconsciously yawned and said to Xiao Han in a low voice. "Okay." Xiao Han nodded and closed his eyes. Soon Xiao Han heard it. Faint snoring sounds could be heard from all directions. It seemed that it was not only the chivalrous heroes from Xiao Han's plane who chose to take a nap. Most of the chivalrous heroes from other planes also had their eyelids heavy and were unconsciously immersed in dreamland. Xiao Han's mental strength was strong, so he did not fall asleep. While he closed his eyes to rest, his mind was spinning. The Genius Zone. It's about to open. In the history of the immortal world, the 3rd-ranked Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, left behind treasures in this world. It was said that it was the accumulation of his entire life. This Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. He was known as the Immortal Emperor of the entire immortal world. He was the Immortal Emperor with the most treasures. Compared to the 1st and 2nd-ranked Immortal Emperors, the temptation was indeed huge. No wonder countless planes were gathering their elites and were led by the Pagoda Master. Coming out in full force. Let's not guess if this Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao has fallen. Is Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao stronger than the demon god in my heart? If he fought with the demon god, who would win? I encountered a mysterious immortal on the way back from the mission of sneaking into the demon metropolis to assassinate Yan Lang. Who is he? Was he an immortal emperor? Although the demon egg in my heart has been sealed by the myriad immortal grand formation and many immortal talismans, there will still be a day when it breaks out of its cocoon. Once the demon god merges its soul with the invincible cosmic beast, it will become an invincible evil creature that can dominate the myriad of worlds. I must improve my combat strength as soon as possible and cultivate my saber intent to perfection. Only then will I be able to save myself. As soon as he calmed down, Xiao Han's mind was in a mess, as all sorts of thoughts filled his mind. Xiao Han understood that he had already fallen into a situation that was beyond redemption. In the heart, there was the most terrifying evil spirit in the universe, which could be brewing and exploding at any time. Genius Zone. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Xiao Han slowly opened his eyes and looked at the black planet. I, Xiao Han, of course, covet the treasure of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. This is related to whether I, Xiao Han, can survive. There are so many geniuses competing with me, Xiao Han, but in order to survive, I, Xiao Han, will not hesitate to fight. I'm not afraid of any competitors. A strong belief slowly rose from Xiao Han's heart. Time seemed to be stretched. Every day seemed to be very long. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. 7 days of waiting seemed to be particularly anxious. Every chivalrous swordsman on the platform now deeply understood the essence of passing a day like a year. However, no matter how hard it was to wait, time would still pass inadvertently. Finally, 7 days passed. The auspicious day for the opening of the Genius Zone had arrived. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, there was a faint glimmer of light on the black planet. Ah! There's movement. Finally, there's movement. It's the location of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair. It's reflecting light. Yes. There seems to be a huge change brewing inside the black planet. It's opening. It's about to open. After waiting for so many days, I feel like I'm sitting on pins and needles. It's finally here. It's not easy. What a grand occasion. This is an unprecedented grand occasion. An almost invincible immortal emperor secretly left his lair in the mortal world. It's going to unveil its mysterious veil in front of us. So excited. This seat's soul is trembling. In an instant, the demon warriors who were sitting, lying, or crouching all jumped up from the ground. All of them, regardless of whether they were at the Tower Master level, the Elder level, or the Demon Warrior level, focused their eyes and stared at the location of the black planet without blinking. They did not even dare to blink. They were afraid of missing any details. Everyone was witnessing a great miracle at the same time. At this moment, some people were completely holding their breath. Some people's faces were flushed. Some people used their hands to press on their hearts, trying their best to keep it stable. Some people were so nervous that they could not stand steadily and needed the support of their companions. They went through all the hardships and did not hesitate to do the most terrifying roaming and shuttling in the universe. They risked their lives to come here. Now, the moment of unveiling was coming. Xiao Han was also extremely nervous. He kept sticking out his tongue and licking his dry and dehydrated lips. He clenched his fists and stared at the black planet without blinking. All eyes were on him. Time seemed to freeze. At this moment, buzz, suddenly the black planet moved. Then, buzz, buzz, the black planet. It seemed to move twice. Then, 3 times. 4 times. 5 times. The black planet continued to move rhythmically, and the frequency was getting faster and faster. And every time it moved, it would affect the hearts of billions of people. Every time it moved, the demon warriors' hearts would twitch. Puff, 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 puff. The black planet expanded and shrank crazily, and the frequency of the rhythm became faster and faster. With the black planet as the center, sound waves were emitted in all directions. In an instant, the universe's earth was rolling under the sound waves. The air was shaking under the sound waves. Flames emerged from inside the black planet. Cold air was also wantonly ejected from inside the black planet. Blue heavenly fire. Weeping gold cold air. They were all drifting everywhere. At this moment, the originally quiet universe seemed to have become a world like the abyss of hell. The continent where many demon warriors were located began to tremble. Every demon warrior on it. They were all panicking. But none of them dared to act rashly. He continued to stare at the black planet without blinking. The next moment, boom, finally, a layer of restriction on the surface of the black planet seemed to have broken. Light shone brightly, and there were destructive waves everywhere. This formation was like thousands of immortals attacking together. Their power and momentum were simply overwhelming the universe, swallowing the Milky Way, blowing up the planet, and leaving dust everywhere. The sound of the planet's disintegration was endless. In an instant, countless explosions were triggered from the surface of the black planet. Layers of beautiful multicolored light bloomed like flowers. However, although these multicolored lights looked gorgeous and beautiful, they were extremely powerful. Even the space crystal wall was crushed. This was simply the divine light of the immortal path, which could only be released by immortals. Then, crack, 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 the surface of the black planet began to crack. Some inexplicable substances began to fall off. Then an unparalleled radiance appeared. The substances that fell off the surface of the black planet were crushed into nothingness by the multicolored light as soon as they fell off. Gradually, the surface of the black planet was no longer dark, but a small world of light appeared. A mysterious spacetime. In it, there were many magical treasures, endless elixirs, mountains of ores, several Taoist books, and even powerful energy and the true meaning of the immortal path left behind by immortals. After the black restriction fell off, a world that looked like a fairyland was revealed. All the heroes could see that in this independent world, the sky was so blue, the clouds were as soft as silk, and the water was so clear that they could see the lines on the pebbles at the bottom of the water. All kinds of ancient trees from the immortal world were thousands of meters tall, and their roots were like dragons. All of them were mottled with the traces of time. In this world there were many immortal palaces, heavenly palaces, and the embryonic form of the halls of heaven. There were countless halls and numerous magnificent pillars that towered into the sky. There were layers upon layers of doors, just like an ancient maze. This world was as beautiful as a painting. It was truly mesmerizing. Moreover, it gave people an extremely dreamy, unreal, and unattainable feeling. It's open. The genius zone is open. The immortal world. After the restriction on the surface of the black planet peeled off, the immortal world appeared inside. So beautiful. So spectacular. This is the genius zone? The surface of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair? It's indescribable. It's vast and indescribable. So many treasures. Oh my God. I see so many treasures. Immortal pills. Immortal qi. Such pure and elegant immortal qi. Just a little bit of it to nourish the body will bring endless benefits. To be able to enter the genius zone, even if it's just for a day, no, half a day or even an hour, my life will not be in vain. In other words, our genius heroes below 10,000 years old can directly enter the genius zone and pick up treasures. Oh my God. This genius zone is only on the surface, and it's already so magical and dazzling. What will happen if we go deep into the core? No, the core is not something we can get our hands on. No, I'm not being delusional. I just want to get a little benefit from the genius zone. As long as it's something as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns, I'll be satisfied. The mission of us mortals is to help the immortals in the upper realm to open up the genius zone. The core is the goal of the immortals. On this continent, the sounds of dreams, exclamations, and screams rang out one after another. So this is what the genius zone looks like. Could this be the legendary immortal world? It's about time. This is probably what the immortal world looks like. It's so great. Xiao Han's eyes were filled with dreamy colors. The genius zone is finally open. Xiao Mingchu's voice trembled and choked with emotion. To be continued? Chapter 462. Under everyone's gaze. The genius zone was finally open. However, none of the chivalrous heroes standing on that continent dared to move. No one dared to be the first to fly towards the genius zone. Each and every one of them stood there like a wooden statue. Their brains were filled with excitement, yet they were also inexplicably terrified. Everyone's blood was surging like a tide. At this moment, ha 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 ha, ah ha ha ha, good. I believe that with the opening of the lair I left behind in the mortal world, there will be a large number of mortals attempting to enter and explore. Ha ha ha. A series of laughter came from inside that planet. This laughter was very spacious and sounded very indifferent. However, it contained a supreme and invincible aura. It contained the will of an immortal emperor. It caused the entire starry sky to tremble and sway. The sovereign descends to the world. In the 10 heavens and 9 earths I am the only one. Under the influence of this voice, all mortals were insignificant. It caused countless chivalrous heroes standing on the continent, including the Tower Masters, to feel uneasy. They could only submit and worship it. Their bones were twitching. In an instant, everyone quieted down. Then, boom, 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 most of the chivalrous heroes present knelt down. Just the voice of an immortal emperor was enough to make mortals kneel down. Suddenly, Xiao Han was also shocked by this mysterious and invincible aura. He was so shocked that his knees buckled. He was about to kneel down. However, the spiritual power planet in his sea of consciousness trembled. Gentle spiritual power flowed out like a spring and spread to Xiao Han's limbs and bones. The pressure on Xiao Han was relieved and he did not kneel down in the end. Xiao Han glanced around with the corner of his eyes. He found that not only Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu, Yan Qi, and the other chivalrous heroes had already knelt down with pale faces. Even the 12 elders and the tower masters had knelt down at this moment. In order not to appear too abrupt, Xiao Han also remained calm. He pretended to half-squat and kneel down. More than 100 million chivalrous heroes gradually knelt down. All of them were as silent as cicadas in winter. Their eyes naturally emitted an attitude of reverence. The scene was dead silent. Ha ha ha, this emperor's lair opens once every 3,000 years? Yes, I'm not in the lair right now. What you're hearing is a voice message that I left behind before. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao is not in his lair. Could it be that he has fallen? Xiao Han pondered. The voice you are hearing is the first set of voices that I left behind. If this voice still exists and hasn't dissipated, that means that no one has been able to enter the first level of my lair, the Genius Zone. Once someone successfully enters the Genius Zone, this set of voices will automatically disappear. I wonder if the geniuses from the various ordinary planes will be able to meet the requirements to enter the Genius Zone of the first layer of my lair this time. I have set up a restriction in the Genius Zone. Immortals are not allowed to enter. Once they do, they will be killed immediately. Mortals over 10,000 years old are not allowed to enter either. They will die if they do. This seat has always been kind to others. Therefore, the requirements to enter the Genius Zone are not harsh. On the contrary, it's very simple. As long as they are below 10,000 years old and are mortals, they can come in and try their luck. However, this seat has to remind one thing. If your cultivation base is weak, you will overestimate yourself and enter the Genius Zone. It will be very easy for you to die. Of course, if your cultivation base is weak, you can also try your luck and enter the Genius Zone. But if you die, don't blame this seat for not reminding you beforehand. This immortal Emperor Zhu Dao seems to be a bit unreasonable. Xiao Han instinctively felt it. Continue. This seat's lair is divided into 4 layers. The Genius Zone is only the first layer. In the 4th layer, there are some treasures that are unique in the heavens and earth. They are even rare in the immortal world. This seat has liked to collect treasures since young. My wealth is comparable to a country. It's not exaggerating to say that this seat's treasures are probably equal to the resources and treasures of the entire immortal world. In fact, the quantity and quality of my treasures are slightly higher than the treasures of the entire immortal world. Mortals, are you very excited to hear this news? Very excited? Just the treasures of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao alone are comparable to the treasures of the entire immortal world? Xiao Han's heart trembled when he heard this. Terrifying. This is really too terrifying. No wonder countless immortals in the immortal world coveted this lair of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. They did not hesitate to spend energy and resources to build so many space springboards for us mortals to use. Xiao Han's heart trembled. The Genius Zone is the outermost layer of my lair. The treasures placed there are indeed not worth mentioning in the immortal world. There are some immortal pills, immortal equipment, ordinary offensive immortal treasures, defensive immortal treasures. There are also a few immortal treasures with special functions. As for low-level immortal techniques and secret manuals, there are also a few thousand of them. The more precious treasures, immortal pills and immortal chi are placed in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th layer. However, no one, including other immortal emperors, can directly enter the 2nd, 3rd and 4th layer of my lair. It can be said that the Genius Zone is the key to the 2nd layer. The 2nd layer is the key to the 3rd layer. The 3rd layer is the key to the 4th layer. Layer by layer. Step by step. Furthermore, each level has its own special restrictions. I won't reveal the restrictions of the 2nd, 3rd and 4th levels for now. Wait until you open the Genius Zone first. What is certain is that the death rate in the Genius Zone is also very high. Mortals who enter the Genius Zone. You must be mentally prepared beforehand. No matter how monstrous you are. As long as you dare to enter, there is a possibility that you will die. If you are afraid of death, then don't enter as soon as possible. After a long time, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice suddenly became a little lonely. Why did I divide my lair into 4 layers? Why do I have to set all kinds of restrictions? Thinking back to my past. I've roamed the immortal world unhindered for my entire life. I've always been arrogant and unruly. But now, according to my personality, I won't easily hand over all the treasures I've accumulated my entire life to someone else. I'll definitely set up some barriers. Those who are capable will take it. On one hand, I want to manipulate you. To treat you as chess pieces. To obtain my treasures. It is not that easy. However, in terms of the quality of the treasures, there's nothing wrong with you guys being my puppets and chess pieces for a while. You will also be willing. You can't wait to be manipulated by me. Ah. On the other hand, I have been a loner all my life. I have no heirs or descendants. I don't even have a disciple. I have been lonely all my life. Although I am an immortal emperor, in the end I am also lonely all my life. Lonely. In the end I found out that I am so lonely. Compared to the common people in the secular world, I am still lacking. What a pity. My mantle doesn't have a successor. Therefore, the first layer of my lair, the genius zone, is prepared for the geniuses of ordinary planes who are under 10,000 years old. This is a test. My wish is to choose one of you geniuses from the secular world to inherit my legacy. Inherit my invincible saber Tao. There can only be one successor to the legacy. At the core of the fourth layer, there is my orthodoxy. You geniuses, whoever can walk to the end, break through the checkpoints one by one, and finally enter the fourth layer, will be able to obtain my orthodoxy. From then on, you will soar to the sky, move unhindered in the immortal world, demon world, and dominate the universe. The fourth layer has Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's orthodoxy. Whoever can obtain it will directly inherit Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's position in the immortal world. For a moment, all the geniuses on the continent felt their blood boiling and completely ignited. A chance for a carp to jump over the dragon gate. It was definitely a chance for a carp to jump over the dragon gate. However, there could only be one successor to his legacy. Yes, there can only be one successor to the legacy. However, the others don't have to worry. Even if they can't inherit my legacy, as long as they are talented, skillful, and lucky, they can still obtain other treasures. Immortal pills and immortal chi are endless, all kinds of magical treasures are endless, and there is also the chance for immortal chi and immortal technique to be enlightened. In short, there are a lot of benefits. It depends on whether you have the ability to take them. Ah. If you have the ability, you can have as many treasures as you want. There is no lack of treasures. Ah. Anyway, these treasures are useless to me. I'll just give them to you guys. Ah. You guys are really lucky. Ah. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao should be the most powerful saber user in the immortal world. If I can obtain his orthodoxy and inherit his Tao of saber, my saber intent will definitely reach the godly level. Then, I'll be able to kill my inner demon and the soul of the demon god inside the demon egg. Xiao Han's heart was also burning with excitement. If I can activate my life saber chi and kill it before the demon god inside the demon egg fuses perfectly with the terrifying cosmic beast, then I, Xiao Han, will be able to escape and come back to life. Good. Good. Opportunity. An opportunity that can save my life. Xiao Han's eyes flashed with determination. For my life I'll risk it all. I want to obtain Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's orthodoxy. I don't care about the other treasures. I want to pass through the 4 levels and obtain Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's inheritance and become his only disciple. Alright, I'm done with the simple rules. Now, those who meet the requirements can enter the Genius Zone. After entering the Genius Zone, there are other rules. At that time, I'll send a voice transmission to let those who enter know. Let's begin. The Genius Zone will close in 3 days. Hurry up and line up to enter. Finally, I'll remind you of a few points. Immortals and mortals above 10,000 years old, don't challenge my rules. Don't try to take advantage of the situation and teleport into the Genius Zone. That's courting death. Demon race? Yes, if any demon race wants to sneak in, they'll also be courting death. Once the demon race enters the Genius Zone, their demon power will be restricted. Ah. Those who are of the appropriate age must be silent when entering the Genius Zone. Fighting and quarreling are not allowed. That's blasphemy against me. Those who violate the rules will be obliterated. Alright, enter. 3 days later, the Genius Zone will close. You can no longer enter. Hurry up. Enter. 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 To be continued. Chapter 463. After Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao finished announcing the basic rules of the Genius Zone. Finally, the Genius Zone was completely open to the evil heroes of the right age who came to the continent. Now, all the evil heroes of the right age could fly into the Genius Zone. The first treasure hunt in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair had officially begun. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice became silent and disappeared without a trace. The peerless pressure of the Immortal Emperor also disappeared, causing the evil heroes on the continent to stand up from their kneeling position. Each of them breathed out a mouthful of foul air, but they still had lingering fears. They did not doubt that the voice just now could destroy their divine souls with a flick of a finger. Soon, the tower masters of the various planes on the continent began to make emergency arrangements. A strange evil man wearing a black cloak with a strange bat embroidered on it looked at the hundreds of evil heroes under his command. His eyes were burning with passion as he let out a strange laugh. Children, enter the genius zone. Take back the immortal treasures. Yes, Tower Master. We will take the treasures in the genius zone. Tower Master, please wait for our good news. Hundreds of powerful evil heroes shouted in unison. All of them felt their blood boiling. Then they controlled their true chi and flew towards the surface of the black planet, towards the genius zone that was as bright as the immortal world. A man in crimson battle armor appeared. His eyes were closed and lightning seemed to shoot out from them. There was a faint red mark between his eyebrows, and his entire body was filled with an aura of immortality. The corners of his mouth curled up, and his fingers gently moved. The surrounding space began to ripple and even cracks appeared occasionally. It's open. The genius zone is finally open. Good, very good. Endless immortal pills for all to pick up. Moreover, the fourth level of the genius zone also contains the legacy of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Children, let's attack. Break through the genius zone. Break through the levels one by one. I hope that the legacy of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao will fall into the hands of the geniuses of our plane. Let's go. Thousands of evil heroes burst out with thunderous roars. Then they rode the clouds and flew into the genius zone. It was a bald giant shrouded in purple flames. His aura was like that of a god. Above his head, there was a mysterious pattern of the universe. He roared. All of you go to the genius zone. I don't have too many requirements for you. As for the second and third members of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, I don't have many requirements for you. Fourth floor. I won't covet it anymore. However, you must obtain enough treasures from the genius zone. Otherwise, bring your head out to see me. Roar. Yes. Pagoda Master. The pagoda masters of every plane were encouraging their subordinates, causing their blood to boil with excitement. Disregarding life and death, he resolutely entered the genius zone. In fact, every single celestial pill and strand of celestial chi in the genius zone was extremely precious. They were all priceless treasures that could not be bred in the secular world. Therefore, almost without encouragement, the chivalrous swordsmen moved forward bravely, swearing to break into the genius zone even at the cost of their lives. At a time like this, almost no chivalrous hero would retreat. Even if he were to die, he would still charge forward. The fiendish heroes transformed into beams of true chi and charged into the genius zone. At a glance, they were like a swarm of locusts. They were densely packed. It was a ghastly sight. And in Xiaohan's plane, the pagoda master and the 12 elders were also making their final mobilization. Including Xiaohan, there were 76 people in this plane who met the conditions to enter the genius zone. Including Xiaohan's 5 slaves, there were 81 people. I won't say any more nonsense. The pagoda master's voice was completely distorted and hoarse. The rise and fall of this plane, the future development of this plane, all depends on you. Our plane is too weak. Bullied by others. The pagoda master's voice was completely choked. His eyes were red and he was about to cry. I'm counting on you. Bring back celestial pills and celestial chi from the genius zone. All kinds of magic treasures. Although only a few dozen of you entered our plane, but I believe that you can create miracles. Please. Finally, the pagoda master cried. Many chivalrous heroes were deeply moved and they all made vows. Pagoda master, don't worry. Even if we die, we will still get the treasures. Pagoda master, it's time for us to serve the plane. No one wants to be an ant. Fight. Fight with this life. Die without regrets. Pagoda master, don't worry and wait. Maybe we can really create a miracle? Che, Xiaohan sneered disapprovingly. This pagoda master is playing the emotional card at this time. Really? What an idiot. Bewitching people's hearts, making us risk our lives to search for treasures while he sits and enjoys the fruits of others' labor. Suddenly, the pagoda master looked at Xiaohan with tears in his eyes. Xiaohan. In fact, in our plane you are the most competitive. You are the most monstrous, the most heaven-defying. You single-handedly annihilated all the elites of the Narong Plain. Moreover, you even have an immortal artifact that can increase one's spiritual force. I'm the most optimistic about you. It's no exaggeration to say that you are the hope of our entire plane, Xiao Han. Xiao Han, for the plane, for your future you must work hard. I am optimistic about you. Defeat all the competitors from other planes and stand out. Ha, I hope so. Xiao Han smiled coldly. Alright everyone, make your final preparations. After that, let's go. Enter the genius zone as soon as possible, the pagoda master urged. Then, the dozens of fiends from Xiao Han's dimension quickly gathered in groups of 3 to 5 and started whispering to each other. Eldest senior brother, big brother Luo, let's fly in together. If we encounter any danger, I'll take you into the Despair Demon compound. However, the voice message left behind by Immortal Emperor Ju Dao said that the demonic power of the demon race would be restricted in the genius zone. Although I'm not a monster, but my left arm, on the other hand, has refined the demon god's palm, and its demonic power is surging. At that time, I wonder if I can still unleash various demonic techniques. How about this? Eldest senior brother, why don't you guys enter the Despair Demon compound in my left arm now? Junior brother Xiao Han, this. Xiao Mingchu's eyes widened. A ray of light flashed across his eyes as he said resolutely, forget it. Junior brother Xiao Han, if your demonic technique is restricted in the genius zone, then once we are teleported into the Despair Demon compound, I'm afraid we won't be able to come out. I also want to personally go to the genius zone to take a look and try my luck with immortal fate. It's dangerous, but if I miss this opportunity, I'll definitely die. He would regret it for the rest of his life. It's fine. I've decided to give it a try. I won't rely on junior brother Xiao Han's demonic technique anymore. Even if I'm killed by the geniuses from other planes, I'll die without regrets. After a pause, Xiao Mingchu smiled. Junior brother Xiao Han, don't worry too much about me. Maybe I'll have great luck. Not only will I not die, but I'll also gain something? Haha, that's hard to say, right? Luo Tianyu also laughed heartily. Yes, little brother Xiao Han. I'll also risk it. Riches are found in danger. This time I'll go deep into the tiger's den. I'll also stake it all on one throw. Hearing this, Xiao Han immediately nodded. Alright, eldest senior brother, big brother Luo, let's teleport in together. When the time comes, we'll have companions and we can take care of each other. Alright. Xiao Mingchu and Luo Tianyu both nodded. At the same time, there were some other geniuses at the side. When they heard this, they all moved closer to Xiao Han. Xiao Han, let's go together. These geniuses all knew how powerful Xiao Han was, so they also wanted to seek some protection. Even Yan Qi, who had fallen out with Xiao Han, shamelessly moved closer with a flattering smile. Xiao Han did not say much. He looked at his 5 slaves and asked, "What about you guys?" "Master, we'd like to try our luck as well." The 5 slaves were not afraid. "Alright. Everyone, let's go in together." Xiao Han's spirits lifted as he looked towards the genius zone. At this moment, the crowd was like a tide, surging towards the genius zone. Let's go. Let's go in. Xiao Han suddenly rose into the air. Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and the other geniuses immediately activated their true qi and followed beside Xiao Han. Go in. Xiao Han's true qi surged out of his body, and his entire body shot into the genius zone like an arrow released from a bow. Xiao Mingchu and the others followed closely behind. In a few flashes, Xiao Han and the others entered the genius zone. We're finally in. Our people are finally in. The pagoda master seemed to be sleep-talking. He clasped his hands together and prayed silently. I don't ask for anything else. Even if it's a pot of immortal pills and a few immortal weapons, I'll be satisfied. Even if all the geniuses from our realm are annihilated, it'll be worth it if they can bring back some treasures. At this moment, Xiao Han. He flew into the dazzling light. He flew into the genius zone that was like a celestial realm. Boom! His feet were steady. His vision was filled with strange and dazzling lights. Countless twisted rays of light crisscrossed. Huff! Xiao Han shook his head forcefully and paused for dozens of breaths before his blurry vision returned to normal. When Xiao Han opened his eyes, he subconsciously called out. Eldest senior brother, brother Luo, you guys, huh? Unexpectedly, when Xiao Han opened his eyes, there was no one around him. Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, Yan Qi, and his 5 slaves were all gone. Not only was there no news of the geniuses from this realm, but there was also no sign of any geniuses from other realms. Not only was there no news from the chivalrous bird in this dimension, there was not even a shadow in the surroundings. There was not a single chivalrous bird in the other dimensions. Are you serious? Xiao Han was stunned. Countless geniuses were teleported here. There are at least tens of millions of them. They were teleported here like a swarm of bees. How come there's not even a ghost around me? Immediately after, Xiao Han calmed himself down a little and started looking around. Xiao Han found that the place he was in was extremely elegant. There was a warm fragrance in the air, and there was a faint immortal aura in all directions. There were green hills and clear waters, torrential streams, fallen leaves dancing in the air, small bridges and flowing water. The sky was blue and the clouds were like silk. It was a completely otherworldly scene. However, it was a little too quiet. It seems that I've entered the genius zone. Xiao Han's eyes flickered. But what should I do now? Look for treasures? Look for immortal pills and various immortal weapons? Chapter 464. Xiao Han was finally teleported to the genius zone. However, after entering, other than being attracted by the ethereal charm and beautiful scenery of the genius zone, the rest was full of doubts. Xiao Han's side was empty. Not only Xiao Mingqiu and the others were nowhere to be seen, but there was also no news of the other heroes from other planes. The atmosphere was mysterious and strange. Xiao Han was stunned for more than 10 breaths. Then he subconsciously stepped forward. He wanted to go around a green mountain and walk further away to take a look. At this moment, ha ha ha, a supreme and invincible voice echoed in Xiao Han's ears, causing his entire body to tremble violently. It's immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice. Xiao Han stopped. Heroes who have just entered the genius zone, don't act rashly. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was extremely indifferent. Ah. Welcome to the genius zone, this emperor's lair. And I'm sure all of you must have gone through a lot of trouble to be able to enter. Haha, but it doesn't matter. This emperor will repay all of you. Alright, from now on you are all my pawns. Ha ha ha. Although he was laughing, there was no trace of joy in his voice. Now I will announce the rules for entering for the first time. Every chivalrous hero will receive this message from me when they enter for the first time. Listen carefully. Rules for entering for the first time? Xiao Han stopped moving and held his breath. He listened attentively, afraid that he would miss out on any details. Entering the genius zone for the first time, you must be very confused. Ah. And now you can't see your companions around you and you can't release your spirit power to scan. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice finally contained a trace of playfulness. At the same time, Xiao Han tried to circulate his spirit power and release a spirit wave. Shockingly, what? As soon as the spirit wave was released, there was no news at all. I can't sense the surrounding environment at all. Scanning and surveying. This is strange. My spirit wave is able to scan an area of millions of miles. Why is it restricted here? Xiao Han was shocked. Ah, don't worry. In fact, you are in the restriction set by me. To put it simply, this restriction is like a maze so you can't sense the other demons around you. His mental power had also failed. However, this was only temporary. 3 days later, the restriction would automatically disappear. At that time, everything would return to normal. You can see other chivalrous heroes who have entered the genius zone. They can also release their mental strength and activate their true chi to fly. It's no different from the outside world. Just wait. You would patiently wait here for 3 days. The immortal chi around you is of very low quality. It doesn't have the effect of refining your body. However, after it seeps into your skin, pores and internal organs, it can replenish your nutrients. You won't feel hungry or thirsty even if you don't drink or eat. Alright, let's wait for 3 days. In 3 days, I'm sure all of the fiends who want a share of the pain will be teleported in. When the time comes, I'll close the genius zone, and the adventure and test will officially begin. 3 days later, I will send you a voice transmission again. And let's meet again in 3 days. Finally, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice disappeared. Oh, so it's the maze restriction. Xiao Han finally understood. Wait for 3 days? That's right. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao said before that the genius zone will be closed after 3 days. He wanted to wait for all the fiends to be teleported in without missing a single one. 3 days is enough for the fiends to be teleported into the genius zone. Xiao Han stopped at the same place for a moment and then wandered around. As expected, Xiao Han found that the area he was in was indeed restricted. There were green mountains and clear waters, birds chirping and flowers fragrant. He wandered around but he couldn't get out. Forget it. I'll rest here for 3 days. Xiao Han sat cross-legged. He looked inside with his mental strength. At this time, Xiao Han found that the demonic force in his left demon sovereign's palm was sealed by an inexplicable energy. The demon emperor's palm is almost completely sealed. Xiao Han felt a slight chill down his spine. If I lose my powerful demonic techniques, then I can only rely on my mental strength and saber intent. My true chi realm and the strength of my physical body are completely useless in the battle against the countless monsters from the other planes. Xiao Han felt a chill run down his spine. Although Xiao Han already knew that his demonic force would be restricted before he entered the genius zone, he didn't expect it to be so severe. Xiao Han was slightly panicked. He took a few deep breaths and tried to adjust his condition. Then Xiao Han looked inside at the demon egg that was sealed by the 10,000 immortal grand formation. Strangely, the demon egg's aura and life force did not seem to be restricted in the genius zone. If Xiao Han released the 10,000 immortal grand formation, the violent demonic chi would definitely burst out, causing the sun and moon to lose their luster and the sky to change color. My demonic force and demonic technique are almost completely restricted. This is extremely disadvantageous to me. But then again it makes sense. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's territory naturally does not allow any demonic chi to exist. Xiao Han kept comforting himself. Forget it, forget it. Fortunately, I've cultivated the extinguishing sky and earth mental technique to level 19 on the way to the genius zone. Otherwise, 3 days of waiting. Xiao Han did not move and sat cross-legged for 3 whole days. After 3 days the space around him started to loosen. Sounds of bamboo breaking could be heard. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's restriction is about to break. Xiao Han stood up and looked around vigilantly. Once the restriction is broken, I'll be able to see the other demons that entered the genius zone. Of course they might also be able to see me. At this moment, boom, a loud sound was heard. It was as if the entire genius zone was shaking. At the same time, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's laughter could be heard. All young demons that entered the genius zone, 3 days have passed and the genius zone is closed. The restriction that I've set around your bodies will also be completely removed. You will be able to walk out of the maze. However, before I remove the restriction, I have an important announcement. Listen carefully. What's the announcement? This Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao is really troublesome. Xiao Han was speechless. This is my territory. If you want to obtain my lifetime collection, you will naturally have to abide by the rules that I've set. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was filled with heat. Everyone, this is the first test after entering the genius zone. I'm going to announce to everyone. And you can treat this test as a small game. It's an extremely simple game. In this game, no harm. No killing either. This is a peaceful game. This emperor has always been kind. This first game is enough to prove my kindness. No harm. No killing, a peaceful game? Xiao Han was getting more and more confused. But what he could do now was to continue listening. At the center of the genius zone there's a giant hall. The secret treasures that I've placed in the genius zone are all piled up in the giant hall. What treasures are there in the giant hall? I'll reveal it first. There are bottles of high-quality immortal chi. These immortal chi can be used to refine your body, allowing you to condense an immortal body. In the ordinary plane that you're in, there's also some immortal chi floating in the heaven and earth. You've cultivated your true chi, opened 101 true acupoints and opened your heavenly eye, allowing you to capture this rare immortal chi. However, the immortal chi in the giant hall of the genius zone is at least 10 times better than the immortal chi in your plane. Of course, in order to use the immortal chi to nourish your body and condense an immortal body, your foundation must be strong enough. If your realm is not high enough, your body will not be able to withstand the immortal chi and might explode. However, after you've obtained the immortal chi you can bring it out. When you've accumulated enough, you can use the immortal chi to refine your body. Immortal pills. All kinds of immortal pills with miraculous effects are piled up like mountains. Body refinement, mental strength refinement, perception enhancement, lifespan. All kinds of immortal pills. Offensive immortal treasures, defensive immortal treasures, special immortal treasures. There are also many Dao books and immortal techniques. All the treasures are stored in the giant hall at the center of the genius zone. There aren't any magic treasures outside the giant hall. You won't be able to find them even if you dig 3 feet into the ground. Oh? Could it be that Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's first game is to let us rush into the giant hall at the center of the Genius Zone and search for treasures? Xiaohan guessed. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice sounded again. Ah. The first game isn't to enter the giant hall, but to obtain the qualification to enter the giant hall. Yes, I've already told you that there are countless treasures in the giant hall. However, the trace of divine sense that I left in the Genius Zone hasn't completely dissipated yet. I discovered that there are tens of millions of evil heroes pouring into the Genius Zone this time. Aha, it's several times more than what I expected. Yes, there are a lot of treasures in the giant hall, but it's not enough for so many evil heroes. Therefore, not every evil hero that enters the giant hall will have a chance to search for treasures. The requirement to enter the giant hall is to obtain immortal stones. The so-called immortal stones are ordinary stones in the immortal world, but their shape and luster are similar to the gems in your human world. These immortal stones are useless in the immortal world, but they can be used to beautify your world. Outside the giant hall, the entire Genius Zone is scattered with immortal stones. Some immortal stones are deep underground, some are hidden in streams and rivers, and some are even nurtured in ordinary rocks. Immortal stones are very well hidden and not easy to find. The first game is to search for immortal stones. Listen, once you find 10 immortal stones, you can enter the giant hall that stores the treasures. Everyone, the time to search for immortal stones is 3 days. From now on, the giant hall is open. As long as you can find 10 immortal stones, you can enter the giant hall. In the process of searching for immortal stones, evil heroes are not allowed to kill each other. Snatching the immortal stones found by other evil heroes is not allowed. Violators will be killed immediately. Of course, if you voluntarily give the immortal stones to other evil heroes, it's not against the rules. After 3 days, the giant hall will close. Evil heroes that can't find 10 immortal stones will be expelled from the Genius Zone and sent out. Oh, I understand, I completely understand. Hearing Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's explanation, Xiaohan understood. Simple, it's indeed simple. Just find the immortal stones hidden in the hidden areas of the Genius Zone. Once you find 10 immortal stones, you can enter the giant hall. After 3 days, if you can't find 10 immortal stones, you will be eliminated. The good thing about this is that when searching for the immortal stones, killing and robbing are not allowed. Everyone depends on their luck. It's indeed a peaceful game with no harm and no killing. Ha! The rules of this game are very simple and relaxing, right? Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao laughed. According to the traces of divine sense left by this emperor, there are more than 80 million evil heroes that have entered the Genius Zone. Ah! Close to 100 million. The restrictions around your bodies will disappear soon, and you will be able to search for immortal stones everywhere. Lastly, this emperor will remind you of a few things. First, 10 immortal stones is just a stepping stone. It doesn't mean that once you find 10 immortal stones, you will be able to enter the giant hall and search for treasures. You must try your best to find as many immortal stones as possible. Only when you have enough immortal stones can you exchange for treasures in the giant hall. Yes, this emperor will tell you now, the treasures in the giant hall must be exchanged with immortal stones. With only 10 immortal stones, you can indeed enter the giant hall. However, it's useless even if you go in, because there are no extra immortal stones to exchange for treasures. Try your best to find them. The more immortal stones you accumulate, the more benefits you will get when you enter the giant hall. Second, there are a lot of immortal stones scattered in the Genius Zone. However, it's difficult to find some hidden immortal stones with your naked eyes. Therefore, try your best to sense them. Because every immortal stone contains a faint, special immortal aura. Searching for immortal stones is, in fact, a test of your immortal affinity and sense of the immortal world. To be continued. Chapter 465. After the Genius Zone was completely closed, almost all the monsters that entered were in position. Their numbers reached a terrifying 80 million. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao announced the first rule of the Genius Zone. Search for immortal stones. Within 3 days, if one could not find 10 immortal stones, they would be rejected by the Genius Zone and teleported out. Thus, they would lose the chance to compete. The more immortal stones I find, the better. Xiaohan completely understood the essence of the rules. After entering the giant hall in the center of the Genius Zone, they probably rely on immortal stones to exchange for various treasures. The more precious the treasure, the more immortal stones they need. Damn it. I'm going to search for immortal stones like crazy. Suddenly, Xiao Han's body was filled with energy. At this moment, boom, the restrictive spell surrounding Xiao Han suddenly burst open. Ripples appeared in the entire space and the surrounding scenery changed. The next moment, the originally picturesque scenery had actually turned into an ancient palace. Xiao Han was standing in the center of the palace. Looking around, Xiao Han saw that other than himself, there were two other monsters in the palace. However, they were not monsters from his plane. One of them was a bewitching young man dressed in black. He had a cold temperament, and his aura was as terrifying as that of a primordial beast. His body's true chi was extremely condensed, and jade talismans shot out of his pores, forming a great killing formation. He was a level 8 true chi talisman formation realm cultivator. However, Xiao Han released his mental power and scanned, and he vaguely knew. This demonic young man's foundation in meridian expansion and talisman formation was extremely solid. He was at least a few hundred times stronger than his big senior brother Xiao Mingqiu. The other one was a fat man in red clothes. He looked like a pig, but his eyes were extremely narrow. Occasionally he would reveal a sharp aura. Xiao Han and the two swordsmen briefly met face to face, and then they stared at each other with their eyes wide open. I wonder how a trash at the meridian expansion realm came in. The demonic young man in black clothes muttered in disdain. Killing intent flashed across his eyes as he moved half a step towards Xiao Han. However, he quickly stopped. The fat man in red clothes. He chuckled. Don't fight. The rule that immortal Emperor Zhu Dao announced was peace. At the very least, killing was strictly prohibited during the process of searching for immortal stones. This is a rule that protects the weak. Let's look for immortal stones. Don't fight here. After saying that, the red-clothed fatty quickly strolled around and rummaged through the cabinets and cabinets. The bewitching black-clothed young man viciously glared at Xiao Han before his figure flashed and he arrived at the side of the palace's screen. He searched carefully. What about eldest senior brother and the others? Xiao Han was confused. I was clearly teleported in with eldest senior brother and the others, so why are they nowhere to be seen? Instead, there are two people I don't know by my side. Could it be that we were separated after entering the genius zone? He paused for a moment. Xiao Han also slightly shrugged his shoulders. Forget it. Before we entered the giant hall, everything was safe. Eldest senior brother and the others would not be in any danger. As long as they dared to fight or snatch the celestial stones, they would be killed by immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine sense. There was absolutely no hero who dared to do such a thing. Alright. Let's not bother with eldest senior brother and the rest for now. I'll make the best use of my time to look for celestial stones. Xiao Han perked up and scanned his surroundings. The palace was extremely spacious, bright and large. Xiao Han was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he searched every inch of the palace, leaving nothing behind. At the same time, Xiao Han released his mental energy. The liquid mental energy planet in his brain was previously imprisoned, but at this moment, it was completely released. Boom! A tyrannical mental energy was released like an octopus, covering a boundless area. Xiao Han was stunned. Outside, in a normal space, my mental energy is unimpeded and can cover an area of millions of miles. But in this genius zone, the space barrier is thick and hard, and there is immortal chi crisscrossing, causing the scanning range of my mental energy to be compressed to about 800,000 miles. Xiao Han took a while to get used to it. As a matter of fact, as long as one was in this genius zone, not only would Xiao Han's mental energy be restricted, but any hero who came in would also be restricted. This was because this genius zone had a taste of the immortal realm. The heaven and earth space was much stronger than the outside world. The law of space, law of time, and various other laws were condensed to an extreme, causing everyone's soul and mental energy to be greatly restricted. In fact, the frequency and speed of his Jinqi attacks were also somewhat restricted. It's all right. This restriction is fair to everyone. It's not just for me. Moreover, my mental energy can still spread for at least 800,000 miles, which is already very good. Xiao Han nodded silently. Then within the range of his psychic waves, Xiao Han clearly saw a large number of Taoists, men and women, strong and weak. There were at least millions of them, all looking for celestial stones at the moment. In the forest, in the ruins, in the stream, in the mountains, on top of the ancient trees, next to the thatched cottage in the palace. They searched everywhere. I found a celestial stone. It's really a celestial stone. Dozens of kilometers away from Xiao Han, a black man dug out a deity stone from the bottom of a mountain stream. Xiao Han focused his psychic waves and saw that the deity stone was ocean blue, about the size of a fingernail, and shone brightly. Ha Hang, there's actually an immortal stone hidden here. 800 miles away, a swordsman in shorts found an immortal stone in a bird's nest on an old tree. What was even more outrageous was that Xiao Han discovered that a few Taoists were digging several feet into the ground in a fertile area. They forcefully dug out a few immortal stones from the ground and wiped off the dirt on the surface, revealing a brilliant luster. Some heroes have already found the immortal stones. However, the distribution of the immortal stones is unknown. It was really strange. In a bird's nest, underground, underwater. This is too funny, isn't it? Xiao Han shook his head and retracted his mind power. He did not want to be distracted anymore. At this moment, he subconsciously walked to the French windows of the palace. Shockingly. Immortal stone. Xiao Han's eyes lit up. On the ground there was a row of potted plants. Among them, there was a simple green potted plant with a rose-red brilliance rolling in it. Xiao Han grabbed the potted plant with his true qi. Then, he found that there was indeed a red immortal stone the size of a fingernail lying inside. Xiao Han took out the immortal stone and placed it in his hand. He carefully played with it, feeling slightly excited. It was rose-red and crystal clear. The texture was exquisite and moist. It was no different from a ruby in the secular world. When he held the immortal stone in his hand, there was a warm touch that passed through his skin and reached Xiao Han's heart. It actually made Xiao Han feel a touch of warmth. This is too magical. This immortal stone has a kind of effect of washing away the distracting thoughts in one's heart and calming one's mind. This is much more magical than the gems in the secular world. Xiao Han was overjoyed. I'm so lucky. It's so easy to find an immortal stone. Ah. At this moment, the black-clothed devilish man and the red-clothed fatty, who were searching for the immortal stone with Xiao Han in the palace, stopped what they were doing and looked at Xiao Han at the same time. In the depths of their eye sockets, there was a look of greed and fanaticism. Trash, give me that immortal stone. The black-clothed devilish man shouted at Xiao Han with a commanding tone. Although it was clearly forbidden to snatch the immortal stone from the hands of other evildoers, it was not against the rules if the other party voluntarily handed it over. The red-clothed fatty also hurriedly called out to Xiao Han. Little brother, lend me the immortal stone in your hand. Come, lend it to me. Just one look. Heh, idiot. Xiao Han replied coldly, I still need 9 more immortal stones before I can enter the giant hall. I don't have time to waste with you guys here. After saying that, Xiao Han turned around and walked straight out of the palace. Behind him, 2 waves of killing intent soared into the sky, but they quickly restrained themselves. Trash. I'll remember you. You better pray that you don't fall into my hands. Otherwise, I'll tear you into pieces. Roar. The black-clothed devilish man's voice sounded behind Xiao Han, filled with deep resentment. After leaving the palace, the sun filled the sky. In front of him was a fragrant garden filled with immortal qi. All kinds of plants and flowers from the immortal world were thriving. There were about 100 evildoers patiently searching the garden. Some of the evildoers used their true qi to transform into tools like shovels and hoes, carefully digging the soil. Xiao Han stopped and released his spirit wave enveloping the garden. He used his spirit wave to search for traces of the immortal stone. I'll use my spirit wave to scan it. It's much more convenient and faster than these evildoers using their naked eyes to observe. Xiao Han put the immortal stone he had already obtained into his storage ring and began to search for the second immortal stone with confidence. However, after his spirit wave rolled around the garden a few times, he did not find anything. There doesn't seem to be any immortal stones here. Xiao Han was not discouraged. He walked around the garden in 2 or 3 steps and walked out. Along the way there were evildoers everywhere looking for immortal stones. Xiao Han also turned over the stones, crossed the stream and climbed up the hill. He did not let go of any place that could possibly hide the immortal stone. However, after a full 2 hours, Xiao Han actually did not find anything. Occasionally he would use his spirit wave to scan a shining immortal stone. Before Xiao Han could rush over, the nearest evildoer had already taken it. Looks like finding the first immortal stone was just my luck. Xiao Han sat under a gigantic cypress tree, looking sullen. It's going to be very difficult. First, the area of the genius zone is very large, but the immortal stones are only the size of a fingernail. Moreover, they are very well hidden. Even if I release my spirit wave, it's not easy to find them. Second, there are too many evildoers looking for the immortal stones. There are so many of them. Not only does it depend on who can find the immortal stones, it also depends on who is faster. 10 immortal stones. It seems easy, but in fact, it's very difficult. Xiao Han shook his head slightly. His mood was not as optimistic as it was at the beginning. At this moment, a gentle girl with long blue hair, an oval face, and a curvaceous body wrapped tightly in light armor walked towards Xiao Han. Her temperament was tranquil, and there was a kind of gentleness to her. She first smiled and greeted Xiao Han, then shyly said, Can I look for immortal stones here? Chapter 466. Xiao Han was slightly taken aback by the shy and adorable girl. It should be known that almost all the monsters from the other planes that Xiao Han had met were fierce and domineering. Few of them were as friendly and courteous as this girl. Xiao Han instinctively had a good impression of this girl, and he said with a faint smile, Miss, you are too polite. Feel free to search. But Xiao Han rubbed his nose and shrugged slightly. I have already searched this place. There is no immortal stone. Heck, I will search again. The gentle blue-haired girl smiled quietly and was very obedient. Then please go ahead. Xiao Han also smiled. The blue-haired girl nodded politely at Xiao Han, and then sat down cross-legged. She took out a grass-green immortal stone from her storage ring, and then quietly closed her eyes as if she was comprehending something. Xiao Han watched from the side, a little baffled, and did not know what was going on. After about 100 breaths, the girl opened her eyes, and a surprised smile appeared on her face. No way? Did she find something in this area? Xiao Han could not help but shake his head. I have searched this area carefully and my mental power even seeped hundreds of meters into the ground, but I did not find anything. Did she really find it? Before Xiao Han could react, the girl stood up, and with a push of her right hand, vital chi condensed into a giant palm. Runes flew around and it directly slapped away a rock that was dozens of feet tall. Then she dashed over and bent down to rummage through the mud under the rock. In a few moments, a pile of yellow mud was held in the girl's hand like a treasure. Miss, you found the immortal stone? I have also used my mental power to scan the area under the rock, but it seems that there is nothing. Xiao Han could not help but walk over. Ha! The girl looked back and smiled and then walked toward a nearby stream. Xiao Han followed behind, and gathered his mental power to scan the pile of mud in the girl's hand. It is just an ordinary pile of mud. Xiao Han concluded again. There is really no immortal stone. The young girl came to the side of the stream and carefully dug out 3 grains of dirt from the soil. Then she put the 3 grains of dirt into the stream and washed them. The next moment something miraculous happened. The filthy mud was washed away, and 3 purple immortal stones the size of fingernails appeared in the girl's hand. No way. Xiao Han exclaimed. How is this possible? I've checked it several times. Haha. The young girl smiled sweetly and took out one of the 3 purple immortal stones. Thank you for letting me find the immortal stone. I'll give you a piece. Oh, wait. Xiao Han waved his hand. You were the one who found the immortal stones. I have no reason to share them. But, if you can tell me the trick to finding the immortal stones. At this point, Xiao Han understood that he had to find the immortal stones. He didn't just use his naked eye to observe. It wasn't even scanning with his mental strength. There must be some other trick. However, the possibility of other chivalrous men telling him this trick was slim. After all, the heroes who entered the genius zone were all competitors. Everyone wanted to obtain more immortal stones and did not want to give their opponents any chance to find immortal stones. Xiao Han thought. This young girl would tactfully refuse him, but he didn't expect that she would agree. Okay, I'll tell you a little trick. That's great. Xiao Han was excited. Look, this kind of immortal stone. Once it's buried in the soil or dropped into the water, it's very difficult to find it with the naked eye. Moreover, it's very difficult to find it with mental strength, because this kind of immortal stone has a special characteristic. The young girl said slowly. When the immortal stone falls into the water, its texture will be close to the texture of the water. Similarly, when it's wrapped in the soil, its texture will also be close to the soil. So, if you use your mental strength to scan it, it's very difficult to distinguish it from the soil and water. As she spoke, the young girl opened her palm and held up an immortal stone. Use your mental strength to scan this immortal stone in my hand. Yes. Xiao Han's mental strength swept. The texture is like a gem in the secular world, very gentle and beautiful. It's very easy to distinguish. The young girl smiled and immediately bent down. She grabbed a handful of soil and tightly wrapped the immortal stone in her hand. Then she dug a hole and buried it. Then use your mental strength to scan it again. I already know where you buried the immortal stone. It's very easy. Xiao Han released his mental strength and scanned the place. However, he was surprised to find that the place where the young girl buried the immortal stone did not have that gentle and delicate gem-like texture at all. What's going on? It's obviously buried there, but my mental strength can't detect it. After the immortal stone is buried in the soil, its texture changes. It's almost as if it's one with the soil. So, it's very difficult for your mental strength to distinguish the immortal stone from the soil. The young girl took out the immortal stone and wiped it clean. The fastest and most accurate way to find immortal stones is not to rely on the naked eye or mental strength to sense it, but the heart. The heart? Xiao Han was confused. Yes, the heart. The young girl said with a serious face. In fact, every celestial stone contains an extremely faint trace of celestial qi. This trace of immortal qi is very difficult to detect. You must use your heart to sense it. When the immortal stone is buried in the soil or dropped into the water, its texture changes. However, the trace of immortal qi inside it still exists. When looking for immortal stones, I shouldn't use my naked eye or my mental strength to sense its texture. Instead, I should use my heart to sense the immortal qi inside it. Xiao Han seemed to have understood something. Soon, Xiao Han sat down with his legs crossed and took out the immortal stone he found earlier. Hey, you found an immortal stone too? The young girl smiled brightly and reminded him. Remember, don't use your mental strength to analyze its texture and internal structure. Don't use your eyes to look at it either. You must use your heart to sense it and experience it. Then you'll really feel the faint immortal qi. Immortal qi? Xiao Han held the immortal stone in his hand. His mind was completely focused. This small immortal stone doesn't seem to have the smell of immortal qi. Xiao Han tried to sense it. However, the immortal stone didn't seem to be emitting any immortal qi. It was only warm to the touch and the color was bright. It also had the special effect of refreshing the mind. Don't be nervous. Don't panic. You need to calm down and sense it, the young girl encouraged him. This immortal stone was born in the immortal world. It must contain immortal qi. However, it's very, very faint. It's much fainter than the immortal qi in this genius zone. It's not easy to sense it. However, as long as you put your heart into it, you'll definitely be able to sense it. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao once said to sense the immortal qi inside the immortal stone. It's like sensing the immortal world. You can test your immortal fate. You can sense the tiny amount of immortal qi inside the immortal stone. It means that you have the immortal fate. You'll have the potential to become an immortal in the future. I'm not showing off. The young girl seemed to be naturally lively. She talked non-stop. However, she quickly stopped talking at the end. She playfully stole a glance at Xiao Han. Her cheeks were burning red. She was indescribably beautiful. I understand. Miss, I'll carefully sense it again. Miss, you can go and find the immortal stone yourself, Xiao Han said with a smile. Me? The young girl slowly walked to a green stone. She took out an embroidered cloth and wiped it. Then she sat on it. She was graceful. She even took out a bag of melon seeds. She kicked her legs and ate the melon seeds while looking at Xiao Han with interest. It's all right. I've already found 8 immortal stones. I'm not in a hurry. 8? Xiao Han was shocked. In such a short period of time, Miss has already found 8 immortal stones? Oh, too powerful. Really too powerful. I'm afraid Miss will be able to find dozens of immortal stones in 3 days. This way, not only will you be able to enter that giant hall, you'll also be able to exchange for treasures. It's nothing. If you can use your heart to sense the traces of immortal qi inside the immortal stones, you'll also be able to find a lot of immortal stones. Actually, it's not difficult at all. After spending some time with Xiao Han, the young girl completely forgot about her shyness. My name is Ma Sha. What about you? Ma Sha? Xiao Han muttered this name in his heart. He thought that this name really had a kind of exotic flavor. He replied, Miss Ma Sha, my name is Xiao Han. Xiao Han. Xiao Han. All right, I'll remember it. Xiao Han, you can just call me Ma Sha. Ma Sha said in a crisp voice. Then she subconsciously covered her cherry lips. I won't disturb you from sensing the immortal qi. You can try again, all right. Xiaohan smiled. Then he discarded all distracting thoughts and completely immersed his mind into the immortal stone in his hand. However, it was very strange. After sensing for half an hour, the immortal stone was still like a pool of stagnant water. Xiaohan could not sense the slightest trace of immortal qi. What's going on? Why can't I sense immortal qi? These immortal stones definitely contain a trace of immortal qi. Otherwise, Ma Xia would not be able to dig out 3 immortal stones from under the giant rock. Why can she sense immortal qi but I can't? Sensing immortal qi is like sensing the immortal world. It's also a test of immortal fate. Could it be that I, Xiaohan, don't have immortal fate? Could it be that I, Xiaohan, am destined not to become an immortal in the future? Xiaohan's heart was slightly anxious. However, no matter how anxious he was, he still could not smoothly sense the trace of immortal qi in the immortal stones. Xiaohan's forehead was full of sweat, but there was nothing he could do. Just as Xiaohan was feeling anxious and uneasy, suddenly, buzz, the 10,000 immortals formation on the surface of his heart began to emit a faint throbbing sound. It seemed to be resonating with the immortal stone in Xiaohan's hand. Xiaohan was stunned. All of a sudden, the 10,000 immortals formation in his heart extracted a wisp of qi and directly rushed into Xiaohan's eyes. A golden light flashed across Xiaohan's eyes. He lowered his head and saw that the immortal stone in his hand was glowing with golden halos. What's going on? It seems like the 10,000 immortals formation on the surface of my heart is also resonating with the immortal stone? Xiaohan was confused and at a loss. Suddenly, buzz 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 buzz, Xiaohan's heart twitched and the myriad immortal grand array rumbled. Involuntarily, Xiaohan's eyes lit up, and he saw that a few hundred meters to his east, under a pond, there was a large number of golden halos opening and closing. Immortal stones? Xiaohan immediately stood up and moved his feet. He subconsciously walked toward the pond and murmured to himself, 1, 2, 3, 16, 16 golden halos are appearing in the pond. Could it be that there are 16 immortal stones hidden in the pond? Chapter 467. Xiaohan tried to sense it for a long time, but he could not sense the immortal qi contained in the tiny immortal stone. However, just as Xiaohan was at a loss, the 10,000 immortals formation that hovered around the surface of his heart was triggered. It released a misty energy that allowed Xiaohan to sense golden halos. Xiaohan subconsciously walked towards the 16 golden circles in the pond. You sensed it? But I don't feel the aura of the immortal stones in this area? Martha, who was sitting on a green rock, also looked at Xiaohan suspiciously. Then she pouted her lips. Could it be that I sensed it wrongly? Martha jumped off the green rock and followed Xiaohan to the edge of the pond. Let's try it. Xiaohan grasped the air with his right hand. Boom, 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 the pond water flowed backward. Water splashed everywhere. The next moment, Xiaohan flipped his right palm. The center of his palm glowed with dazzling treasure light. Xiaohan was holding 16 colorful celestial stones in his hand. He had just used his true qi to extract them from the bottom of the pond. As expected, the innumerable immortal formation has a special connection to the immortal stones. It can help me find the immortal stones. Xiaohan was overjoyed. He scanned his palm with his mental energy. 16 immortal stones. No more, no less, there really are 16 immortal stones. Ah. At this moment, Martha, who had already followed Xiaohan, let out a scream. I didn't sense any immortal qi? Xiaohan, your immortal fate is too strong. The immortal stones at the bottom of the pond have very thin immortal qi. Martha didn't sense it just now. But you. Xiaohan, you will definitely become an immortal in the future. Your immortal fate is stronger than Martha's. Xiaohan did not know whether to cry or laugh when he heard the compliment. It should be noted that he did not rely on himself to sense the immortal qi to find these immortal stones. Instead, it was the aura of the innumerable immortal formation. It pointed him in a clear direction. At the same time, buzz, 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 Xiaohan held the immortal stones. Not only was the innumerable immortal formation on the surface of his heart activated, but even the talismans that sealed the demon egg also released obscure ripples. This, Xiaohan frowned and fell into deep thought. In other words, I can find immortal stones in both the array of 10,000 immortals and the immortal seal on the surface of the egg. What's going on? Wait, that's right. Both the myriad immortals grand formation and the seal on the surface of the demon egg contain the aura of the immortal origin. In other words, immortal chi. Back then, when I came out of the demon metropolis, I encountered a big shot who was suspected to be an immortal. He used some tricks to repair the myriad immortals grand formation in my body. As a result, the 10,000 immortals formation was filled with immortal chi. As for the seals on the surface of the demon egg, they were left behind by countless immortals in the world of immortals. There's no lack of traces of the will of the immortal Tao, so they definitely contain immortal chi. That's why the immortal chi in my body can sense the immortal stones. Xiao Han completely understood. This is also considered luck. Although I can't sense the immortal chi for the time being. But now is not the time to care so much. Let's first excavate a large number of celestial stones. Xiao Han thought to himself. So many immortal stones. There are more than 10 of them. Martha exclaimed. In that case, Xiao Han, you can directly enter that giant hall. It's still early. I have to find more celestial stones before I go in. Xiao Han collected his thoughts and smiled. Then he took out 5 celestial stones and handed them to Martha. Martha, these celestial stones are for you. Thank you for enlightening me. Tell me the trick to finding celestial stones. Martha waved her hand. No need. Xiao Han, keep your celestial stones. You don't deserve it. You're the one who sensed the celestial stones. I just gave you some pointers. Besides, I already have 8 celestial stones. I can find more in 3 days. Oh, Xiao Han choked. Why don't we look for celestial stones together? At least we'll have a companion. Martha suggested. All right. Xiao Han had no reason to reject Martha. After all, if it wasn't for Martha's pointers, Xiao Han might not even be able to gather 10 celestial stones in 3 days. That's great. Martha cheered. Her expression was harmless. Xiao Han, you're more sensitive to celestial chi than me. Look around and see if there are any celestial stones in this area. Okay. Xiao Han nodded in embarrassment. In fact, his ability to sense celestial chi was not as good as Martha's. After a pause, Xiao Han's mind sank into the 10,000 immortal formation. He subconsciously drew out a wisp of celestial chi from the formation and guided it to his eyes. Xiao Han's eyes were burning. There was a flash of golden light. Xiao Han glanced around. There were no more golden halos in the large area. Gradually, some demons came from all directions to find them. Phew. I don't think there are any more celestial stones here. Let's go somewhere else. Xiao Han smiled at Martha. Then he put the 16 celestial stones in his hand into his storage ring. I also have 17 celestial stones. All right, let's go. Keep it up. We'll definitely find more celestial stones. Martha clenched her fists. The two of them walked side by side and walked into the distance. Along the way there were demons everywhere looking for celestial stones. Some of them almost dug 3 feet into the ground, leaving the ground full of potholes and holes. From time to time, there were demons who burst into cheers after finding celestial stones. Of course, there were also many demons who were well versed in sensing celestial chi to find celestial stones. As Xiao Han walked, he drew out the celestial chi in the 10,000 immortal formation and gathered it in his eyes. He quietly sensed the celestial stones. At the same time, Xiao Han's mind waves occasionally radiated out hundreds of thousands of miles to find Xiao Mingqiu and the others. However, he did not find any trace of Xiao Mingqiu and the others. Martha, where are your demons from this plane? Xiao Han asked curiously. Martha grinned. They're scattered. However, in 3 days we should be able to meet them in the giant hall in the center of the genius zone. That's true. Xiao Han nodded. I found them. Martha smiled excitedly. Then in a flash she rushed toward a low bush on the right. Xiao Han focused his gaze. Indeed, there were 3 golden halos flashing in the bush. Soon Martha ran back. She winked at Xiao Han and said in a low voice, 3 celestial stones. The demons beside her. They could not help but stop in their tracks. One of the simple men asked with a smile. Miss, have you found the celestial stones? Martha quickly waved her hand innocently. No, I haven't. Just like that, Xiao Han and Martha spent the entire afternoon searching for the celestial stones together. Because they had mastered the trick, they had many harvests. Thus, Xiao Han and Martha sat on the lawn outside an old forest. Xiao Han, I have 34 celestial stones with me now. Martha smiled, her eyebrows like crescent moons. Fresh and refined. I have 48 celestial stones. Xiao Han also smiled with satisfaction. Wow. In other words, after deducting the 10 celestial stones to enter the giant hall. Xiaohan, you still have a total of 38 celestial stones to exchange for treasures. I wonder what kind of treasures you can exchange for. Martha said with a passionate face. 38 celestial stones, shouldn't be able to exchange for any precious treasures. Xiaohan thought for a moment and then smiled. Martha, it's not just the two of us who have mastered the method to find celestial stones. Previously I saw a demon. He dug out hundreds of celestial stones from the rock stratum underground. That's really a big deal. After pausing for a moment, Xiaohan stood up. Martha, I'm going to continue searching for celestial stones. What about you? Let's go together. Martha also stood up. The two of them quickly entered the old forest in front of them. A night. In the Genius Zone there was also the alternation of day and night. The night in the Genius Zone was extremely beautiful. The stars were bright, and the moon was like a graceful fairy, charming. Xiaohan and Martha walked quickly on a mountain path. On the side of the mountain path there was a cliff that was thousands of feet high. Near this mountain path there was almost no grass. It was bare and covered with greenish-brown stones. Xiaohan. Suddenly, Martha stopped in her tracks and took out a celestial stone from her storage ring. She closed her eyes slightly and began to sense it with a solemn expression. Then she faced the steep mountain wall. Xiaohan. I can feel the aura of celestial qi in the celestial stone. This mountain wall seems to be embedded with celestial stones. But Martha can't tell the exact location and number of celestial stones. Wait. Xiaohan also activated the celestial qi in the 10,000 immortal formation and infused it into his eyes. Then he scanned the mountain wall. Suddenly... What? Xiaohan's body trembled violently. In his eyes, there were densely packed golden halos on the mountain wall. The number of golden halos was so huge that it made Xiaohan's scalp go numb and he was dumbfounded. Xiaohan, your ability to sense celestial qi is stronger than mine. What did you find? Martha hurriedly asked. Wait. I'm counting. Xiaohan swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Then he mumbled with a dull expression. Vaguely he could hear Xiaohan counting 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. After 100 breaths, there are more than 100,000 celestial stones embedded in the mountain wall. Xiaohan's neck was stiff. It's definitely more than 100,000. We're rich. Martha. We're rich. We're rich. More than 100,000? Martha's small mouth suddenly formed in O shape. Unbelievable. We searched for a whole day and each of us only found less than 100 celestial stones. Now, actually, found more than 100,000 celestial stones in one go. This is ridiculous. Xiaohan, are you sure? I'm sure. To Xiaohan, activating the celestial qi in the 10,000 immortal formation to search for celestial stones was a tried and tested method. Therefore he nodded with certainty. This large number of celestial stones is embedded in the mountain wall about 1,000 meters deep. That's why, Martha, you can't sense it very accurately. But it's definitely right. Yes, Xiaohan, I believe in your ability. Then let's start digging. Martha was eager to give it a try. Her pretty face was completely red because of her excitement, like a ripe red apple. Swoosh. The next moment, a long sword condensed from true qi appeared in Martha's hand. The sword's body was simple and colorful, and it was densely engraved with talismans. A sharp aura that could pierce through the void was emitted from the sword's body. Wait, Xiaohan said softly. Then, his mental strength spread out and covered a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles. Soon Xiaohan nodded excitedly. Let's do it. There are no other demons within a radius of tens of thousands of miles. There are only the two of us here. Ah. Don't worry and boldly dig. We're rich. Chapter 468. Boom, Xiaohan smashed his fist on the mountain wall, and the violent strength of his flesh swept out, shattering the heavens and the earth. The entire mountain seemed to be on the verge of collapse, and the originally smooth mountain wall immediately began to crack like a spider web. A huge hole appeared on the mountain wall. Just as the rubble splashed out, it was turned into ashes by Xiaohan's true energy and blade qi. What a tyrannical body. Martha sucked in a breath of cold air. Then, the true energy sword in her hand left her hand and shot into the hole that Xiaohan had dug out. The mountain wall was pierced through by the true energy sword like tofu. Let's go in. Xiao Han and Martha flew side by side into the hole that had been dug out. After a short while, Xiao Han's loud shout came from within the cave. Ah! We're rich. Ah! We're really rich. So many immortal stones. There really are a lot of immortal stones. Xiao Han, you're really amazing. Martha's voice was filled with admiration. Martha, let's split it equally. How can that be? Xiao Han, I only need a little bit. You found it? Aha, don't be polite. Split it equally. Split it equally. Not long after, Xiao Han and Martha came out of the cave with beaming faces. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They could see the ecstasy and excitement in each other's eyes. We dug out a total of 125,000 immortal stones. We split it evenly. Each of us got more than 60,000 immortal stones. Xiao Han said with a trembling voice. This is really a dream. That's right, that's right. Martha was extremely excited right now. Xiao Han, we might as well search through the night. Right now, Martha's entire body is filled with energy. Martha clenched her fists and said excitedly. Good. There are still 2 days left. Don't waste it. We will definitely be able to find more immortal stones. Xiao Han said confidently. Let's go. Xiao. The two of them controlled their true energy and directly flew away from the cliff. Early morning. In an inconspicuous courtyard. Fallen leaves fell. In the middle of the courtyard there was a dry well. Ha ha ha. At this time, a hearty laugh came from the bottom of the well, followed by a string of silvery bell-like giggles. Soon, a handsome youth rose from the bottom of the well. There was some mud on his face, causing his fair complexion to be dyed black. However, he didn't care at all. His eyes flickered with joy. Hang, I didn't expect that at the bottom of this dried-up well. After digging for several thousand meters, they actually dug out more than 100,000 celestial stones. Ah! Xiao Han jumped out of the well and patted the dirt off his clothes. Immediately after, Martha also jumped out of the well. She took off the hairpin on her head and brushed off some of the dirt on the tip of her hair. So dirty, but, hee Xiao Han, we've made a fortune again. Yes, I have it on hand. I already have 150,000 immortal stones, and the small change is negligible, Xiao Han said in a rich and overbearing manner. Shoo. Marcia quickly made a shushing gesture. Haha, it doesn't matter, Xiao Han laughed nonchalantly. It doesn't matter. I've already released my spiritual power to investigate. The nearest devil hero is the devil hero. It's also a few thousand miles away. As long as we keep a low profile, don't make it public and make a fortune in silence, no one will suspect us. Besides, so what if they suspect us? In the process of searching for immortal stones, it's not allowed to fight among the devil heroes. Well, Xiao Han, are you tired? Marcia smiled gently. Not tired. Then let's continue to search for immortal stones. Noon. The sun was shining brightly. In a huge valley, a large number of devil heroes were scattered in groups of 3 to 5, each looking for immortal stones. Xiao Han and Marcia walked into the valley together. At this moment, both of them had more than 100,000 celestial stones in their hands. It could be said that they had food in their hands and did not panic. They walked leisurely and did not show the slightest bit of panic. Moreover, when Xiao Han saw countless devil heroes looking for immortal stones, he felt a little proud in his heart. Perhaps these devil heroes are all frowning and struggling for 10 or even a few celestial stones, but I already have more than 100,000 celestial stones, completely in an invincible position. The difference between the two is like heaven and earth. Buzz, a flash of light flashed across Xiao Han's eyes. He swept his gaze across the valley and found that there were more than 10 celestial stones scattered in the valley. However, Xiao Han was no longer interested in scattered or small batches of celestial stones. Marcia, let's go a little further and take a look. There's nothing valuable here, Xiao Han said in a low voice. Marcia hurriedly agreed. However, at this moment, Buzz, Xiao Han's eyes flashed again. In the distance, densely packed golden circles of light soared into the sky. Marcia, follow me. Xiao Han's heart warmed up. He immediately called out to Marcia and followed the light. I also feel that there's dense celestial chi in front of us. Marcia nodded calmly. The two of them quickly passed through the valley and walked forward. In the area where the golden circles of light were the densest, there was a rapid river that was about a dozen feet wide. The golden light was rushing up from the bottom of the river. However, A bald, strong man who looked like a mountain stood by the river with his eyes closed. There was a flame mark between his eyebrows, emitting a kind of power that made people's hearts tremble, and made people involuntarily submit to him. When people looked at the flame mark, it was like an ant looking at a mountain. He stood there and the surrounding space faintly trembled. Occasionally, a trace of demonic purple flame burst out around his body. Beside the bald, brawny man stood dozens of valiant demons dressed in black battle suits with horrifying auras. At this moment, the bald, strong man suddenly reached out his hand and grabbed. With a boom, the entire river water was completely evaporated. The densely packed celestial stones were sucked up from the bottom of the river by him. Xiao Han's spirit wave swept across. About 70,000 celestial stones. Unfortunately, I'm a step too late. Xiao Han, this. Marcia was also stunned. At this moment, under the scan of Xiao Han's spirit wave, thousands of devil heroes were frantically rushing towards this river from all directions. Friend, you don't have the appetite to eat so many celestial stones alone. Why don't you share some of it with us? Let's be friends. Isn't that better? An unruly voice rang out. In the sky, true chi surged. It transmitted the aura of an eagle soaring through the sky. Marcia, let's go. Xiao Han calmly stopped Marcia. The two of them quickly left the river, away from this troublesome place. In the ruins of a broken wall. After clearing some collapsed stone pillars, Xiao Han dug a few hundred meters into the ground and dug out more than 30,000 celestial stones. There are actually a lot of celestial stones in this genius zone. Let's see if the devil heroes have mastered the trick. The situation just now was complicated by the river, and the celestial stones at the bottom of the river had already been obtained in advance. There's no need for us to be entangled there. There's no result. Xiao Han smiled. It's the best to make a fortune in silence. Come, 34048 celestial stones. Let's split it 50-50. By the afternoon of the second day, the hard-working Xiao Han and Marcia had already harvested about 300,000 celestial stones each. They had already become tycoons. The two of them were overjoyed. There's still one more day. Let's work harder and search everywhere. When we're done, we'll go to the giant hall in the center of the genius zone and see if we can exchange for celestial treasures. Xiao Han smiled at Marcia. Okay. Marcia replied obediently. In a mountain range far away from Xiao Han. At the foot of the mountain there was a ruin. Two figures traversed through the ruins like leopards and cats. It was Xiao Mingqiu and Luo Tianyu. Bang. Xiao Mingqiu grabbed a jar and smashed it on the ground. Unlucky, I clearly saw a glowing object, but it's not a celestial stone. Brother Xiao, there's only one day left. Our situation is not good. Luo Tianyu came up from behind. Brother Luo, how many celestial stones do you have now? Xiao Mingqiu asked with a frown. What a shame. After searching for so long, I've only obtained 6 celestial stones. It's too difficult. I don't even have the qualifications to enter the giant hall, let alone exchange for celestial treasures. Luo Tianyu said bitterly. I've only found 8 celestial stones. I'm still short of 2. Moreover, it's difficult. There were many times when I found celestial stones, but they were snatched away by other heroes. Xiao Mingqiu shook his head and smiled bitterly. Are we going to be excluded and sent out of the genius zone? How about this? Brother Xiao, after tomorrow if we don't have 10 celestial stones, then I'll give all the celestial stones I have to you. You can enter the giant hall. Rather than both of us being sent out, it's better for one of us to go in and see the world, Luo Tianyu said resolutely. Brother Xiao, your talent is far greater than mine. If you enter the giant hall, you might be able to find celestial fate. This? Xiao Mingqiu was slightly stunned and then waved his hand. There's still a full day left. Let's not give up easily. Keep looking. All right then. But I don't know where Brother Xiao Han is now, and whether he has found enough celestial stones. Luo Tianyu was suddenly in a trance. After tomorrow we'll go to the giant hall and meet up with junior brother Xiao Han, Xiao Mingqiu said decisively. I hope that junior brother Xiao Han can enter the giant hall smoothly. The next day. For the whole day Xiao Han and Martha were still persistently looking for celestial stones. They did not rest for even a moment. Until dusk, the number of celestial stones in their hands had reached hundreds of thousands. 576,655 celestial stones. Xiao Han was very clear. To be precise, I have 576,655 celestial stones in my hands now. That should be a huge fortune. I wonder if there are any fiendish heroes out there who have more immortal stones than I do. Xiao Han did not think that the celestial stones in his hands could completely surpass the other heroes. After all, more than 80 million heroes were sent in. Each of them was a genius, and there might even be people who were richer than Xiao Han. However, at this moment, Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's voice sounded again. Ha. After 3 days of searching, I believe that all of you have gained a lot, right? All of you stop searching. Now, the divine sense that I left in the Genius Zone will guide you to the giant hall at the core of the Genius Zone. One by one, hurry to the giant hall. Whether you have 10 celestial stones and have the qualification to enter the giant hall, or if you don't have enough celestial stones, hurry to the giant hall. Those who have 10 celestial stones will naturally be qualified to enter the giant hall. Those who don't have enough will be teleported away through the teleportation formation outside the giant hall. When the sun rises tomorrow, except for the giant hall, all the other areas of the Genius Zone will be destroyed. Those who stay will be killed. As soon as he finished speaking, boom. In the core area of the Genius Zone, a golden light rose. Soon the night sky was dyed red. Let's go, Martha, let's hurry over. Xiao Han looked at the golden light area, and his spiritual wave swept over. Chapter 469. Night. The Genius Zone. At the core of the Genius Zone, a dazzling golden light shot up into the sky, rendering the night sky even more beautiful and dreamy. At the core of the Genius Zone there was a huge hall. It was the outermost layer of the immortal Emperor Ju Dao's lair, the most important area. In this huge hall there were countless secret treasures. As long as the demon knights who entered the Genius Zone had enough immortal stones, they could enter the huge hall in exchange for secret treasures. Of course, the basic condition to enter the huge hall was to have at least 10 immortal stones. Martha, let's go to the huge hall area, Xiao Han said eagerly. Now Xiao Han had more than 500,000 immortal stones on hand. Naturally, he hoped to enter the huge hall as soon as possible in exchange for the secret treasures he needed. Let's go, Martha also laughed excitedly. The two of them controlled their true chi and flew towards the huge hall area together. Along the way, there were also countless demon knights who activated their true chi and quickly flew towards the huge hall area. Xiao Han saw that some demon knights were frowning, some were expressionless, some were beating their chests and stamping their feet, and some were inexplicably excited. Sage, after searching for an entire 3 days, I've only found 4 immortal stones. Shit, I've really lost all my face this time, and I can only accept the tragic fate of being sent away. To think that I've always thought of myself as extraordinary and had great ambitions. What a pity. I've already found 9 immortal stones, I'm still missing 1. I'm only missing 1. No, I must think of a way to gather 10 immortal stones, even if it's just to enter the huge hall to take a look. I'm the most useless. I only found 1 immortal stone. It seems that I won't have any immortal fate in my life. Forget it. I'm also disheartened now. Instead, I hope to be teleported away as soon as possible and return to my own plane. Although I found 14 immortal stones, I just happened to meet the basic condition to enter the huge hall. Exchange for immortal treasures? It's just wishful thinking. Xiao Han spread out his spirit power and heard the complaints of countless demon knights. However, there were also a large number of demon knights who were full of ambition. It seemed that they had quite a lot of gains and did not want to reveal their wealth. More than 80 million demon knights are looking for immortal stones in the Genius Zone. However, it seems that a portion of them will be eliminated directly, Xiao Han said to Martha. Martha nodded in agreement and then whispered, "The more demon knights that are eliminated, the better it is for us." That's true. Xiao Han nodded in agreement. Xiao 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 xiao, in the night sky the true chi glowed brightly like stars. They surged in all directions and flew toward the area of the giant hall. The huge group of demon knights passed through the beautiful plains. They passed through many majestic mountain ranges. They passed through various swamps, deserts, lakes, plains, mountains and grasslands. Palaces, ruins, they were gradually approaching the area of the Great Hall. Not long after, we're here. As soon as Xiao Han's spiritual fluctuations enveloped the area, he saw a boundless open area dozens of miles ahead. It was a huge plain. Tens of millions of demon warriors stood on the plains. In the center of the plain, there was an ancient castle shining with golden light. On the other side of the plain, there was an ancient teleportation array. I can already see the Great Hall and the teleportation matrix. Furthermore, countless demon heroes have already arrived, Xiao Han said to Martha. Yes, I understand. Martha nodded and said. Xiao Han, when we reach the area of the Great Hall, I'll first look for my Yaoxia companions from this plane. We'll meet again in the Great Hall later. Alright, I'm going to look for my companions from that plane too. Xiao Han nodded in agreement. The two of them quickly approached the area of the Great Hall. At this moment, countless chaotic sound waves entered the range of Xiao Han's spiritual fluctuations. Buying immortal stones. A set of supreme-grade body refinement techniques for 4 immortal stones. If you don't have enough immortal stones on hand, don't waste them. Before you teleport out of the genius zone, sell your immortal stones and buy them at a high price. Buy them at a high price. Buying immortal stones at a high price. I'll take as many as you have. Exchange with a huge amount of supreme-grade true chi spirit stones. I'm willing to use my sect's secret technique to buy 50 immortal stones. I'll use a treasure weapon to buy 5 immortal stones. Buying immortal stones, bartering with items, cheating both young and old. Countless demon knights are buying immortal stones? Xiao Han was slightly stunned. Then his vision suddenly opened up. On the plain in front of him, tens of millions of demon knights were densely packed like ants. The scene made one's scalp tingle and it made one hold their breath. At this moment, the demon knights were divided into small groups. They were either chatting or running around to buy immortal stones. The atmosphere was as hot as the sea. Xiao Han scanned with his spiritual fluctuations again. Big brother Yelu, I have 3 immortal stones, I'll give them to you. After I teleport out, I'll ask Big brother Yelu to help me exchange for an immortal pill after you enter the Great Hall. If there's no immortal pill, even a strand of immortal chi will do. Cousin, I have 6 immortal stones here, I'll give them all to you. You can enter the Great Hall. My talent is not as good as yours since I was young. Rather than both of us being eliminated, it's better to let cousin get a rare opportunity. Master, I'll give all the immortal stones I have to Master. I hope that Master will have many fortuitous encounters in the Great Hall and bring our great whale sect to greater heights in the future. Big brother Chiu, many years ago, fortunately, you killed the demon emperor and saved my life. I will repay you. Here are 4 immortal stones, Big brother Chiu. Oh? In addition to buying immortal stones, acquaintances are also giving immortal stones to each other. Xiao Han observed for a moment and finally understood. That's right, if there were 2 Yao heroes from the same plane, and one had 6 celestial stones, and the other had 5 celestial stones according to the rules, neither of them had collected 10 celestial stones, so they should be sent back. However, if these 11 celestial stones were given to one person, then they would at least obtain a spot to enter the Great Hall. This was a wise move. Boom, 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 hundreds of streaks of light streaked across the night sky in beautiful arcs. Then they landed on the plains. The air twisted and a powerful aura rolled. Hundreds of terrifying demon knights walked out from the streaks of light. These hundreds of demon knights were surrounding a fair-skinned young man. The young man walked with majestic steps, his eyes like lightning. He looked around and spoke in a cold and arrogant voice. This prince is the most talented in this plane. Among the demon knights of the same age, no one can compete with me. Hand over all the immortal stones in your hands. Let this prince descend to the Great Hall. Hundreds of demon knights seemed to be angry but didn't dare to say anything. They all took out the immortal stones in their storage rings and handed them over to the young man. Soon Xiao Han and Martha were preparing to land on the plains. Suddenly, friend, do you have any immortal stones on hand? Give me the immortal stones. I will definitely give you a satisfactory price. Friend, have you gathered 10 immortal stones? If you haven't gathered enough, you might as well give up the immortal stones on hand. The beauty of helping others. Friend, I'll use 100 beautiful maids to exchange for a few immortal stones. Give me the immortal stones first. When we leave the genius area, I'll give you 100 maids. A swarm of demon knights flew up and surrounded Xiao Han and Martha. Suddenly, a fragrant wind blew in his face. A sexy and enchanting mature female demon knight also flew up. Her charming eyes were like silk as she breathed out at Xiao Han. Little brother. 1 immortal stone, big sister will let you become an immortal once. 2 immortal stones, become an immortal twice, and so on. I don't have a single immortal stone on hand. Xiao Han flatly refused. Then he rushed down with Martha. Xiao Han and Martha stood on the plains. Xiaohan, I'm going to find my sisters. See you later. Martha smiled at Xiaohan. All right. Xiaohan nodded. Then the two of them parted ways. I'll find eldest senior brother and the others first. Xiaohan calmly released his mental strength. Soon, I found eldest senior brother. Xiaohan was overjoyed. Then he quickly walked towards Xiao Mingqiu and the others. Eldest senior brother, big brother Luo. In a corner, Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu, and a dozen demon knights from Xiaohan's side were gathered together and whispering to each other. Xiaohan hurriedly walked over and greeted them. Junior brother Xiaohan. Little brother Xiaohan. Xiaohan. Xiao Mingqiu and the others raised their heads and shouted in surprise. Xiaohan calmly walked over to him. How was it? How was everyone's harvest? Bad luck. Little brother Xiaohan, I found 9 immortal stones. I'm still missing one, Luo Tianyu muttered. Junior brother Xiaohan, I only found 9 immortal stones, Xiao Mingqiu said with a shrug. Xiaohan, I found 3. Xiaohan, I found 5. I found 2. Everyone was talking at once. In the end, it was obvious that none of Xiaohan's fellow countrymen, led by Xiao Mingqiu, had succeeded in finding 10 immortal stones. Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't even be qualified to enter the hall. Junior brother Xiaohan, how many immortal stones did you find? Xiao Mingqiu asked in a low voice. How about this, we'll all give you our immortal stones. Once you have enough immortal stones, enter the hall and see if you can exchange them for an immortal artifact. Yes, little brother Xiaohan, we all have high hopes for you. You're the demon knight with the most terrifying potential in our plane. If all of us enter the hall, it would be better for you to enter alone, Luo Tianyu said enthusiastically. Oh. Xiaohan was stunned. Right at this moment. Ah. Young demon knights, there are less than 4 hours before the sun rises tomorrow. I'm sure all of you have reached the area of the hall, right? I won't waste any more of your words. In 2 hours, the door of the hall will open, and the demon knights with 10 immortal stones will enter the hall. Those who don't have 10 immortal stones will immediately leave the genius area through the teleportation formation. Those who stay will be killed. Also, once you enter the hall, you may exchange for an immortal artifact, but you may also lose your life. A new round of tests will appear in the hall. There's still some time. Think carefully. Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's voice resounded throughout the heavens and earth. The noisy crowd quieted down. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the towering ancient castle bathed in golden light. The door of the hall was tightly shut. Wisps of immortal glow burst out of the palace. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.